So breaking news. Breaking news. There was an attempt, they say, on Trump at the function, the White House dinner function thing, whatever it is. I mean, let's just chime on in. You know, it's hard to tell. One minute they said that the guy was unalive. The next minute they say he's in custody. You know, when the stories start changing like that, you never know with Trump. Oh, soon as the heat get on, he stage something. I don't know how you have an assassin that make it inside the White House, makes it inside the White House, and miss. If Secret Service, the Mossad, I mean, whoever sent for the hit, if they had enough intelligence that was cooperating with them, hey, Dorothy, for them to get inside the White House. How is that possible? Hey, JR. Hey, X Space. How did anybody that wasn't authorized to be there get inside the White House, you know, close enough to send out shots? Hello, Eleanor. Hey, Joe. I don't know if I'm buying it. I don't know, but we gonna listen. But yeah, you had more attempts and more misses. I mean, why, if he wasn't in sight, why are you letting off? I mean, why are you letting off six that boom, 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 boom? Why? That's where it starts sounding staged to me. Yeah, I mean, right at the time that you done fell asleep, numbers are going down, you done got threats in the Middle East streets, and the boats done got, you know, captured and seized. It's just, yeah. I mean, going downhill, your Epstein files is coming unglued. The glue is ungluing. Don't nobody want to stick to you. You had to post that now $100 million a bond, a cash bond, cause with nobody, no bank, nobody, a bond, a surety bond. I just know it's just too much. Too many coincidences. Now somebody got that close to taking you out. Hell, I thought you got on a plane yesterday. I thought you was scared yesterday and went home. Wait, what? I thought you was heading out to Florida. What done happened? Oh, you came back. Yeah, because they roasted your ass last night. Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, roasted all they, yeah. And you didn't want to be there. You could, I can't stand the rain against my window. Hey, Krista, you couldn't handle that. So you had to run. I can't say you're a runner, you're a track star, hell, because you can't run. You can't run with a diaper. But anyway, let's hear some of this. Let's tap on in there. Shout out to Naturally New Orleans for reaching out to me, because, you know, y'all know I wasn't coming. I was finna hit y'all with, you know, I wasn't coming. I just wasn't coming. But shout out to her for letting me know. Let's go. Let's hear some of this.
If you ever heard gunshots on top of you, they're loud. They travel.
Let me back it up, son.
Just one of many. So you cannot allow the president of...
Can we back it up?
There was a systemic reaction that was going on based on somebody that heard it, and others were reacting to that. So we don't just...
Hey, Naturally New Orleans.
Whether or not...
Thank you.
To some people, and he looked like he's in great spirits.
He in great spirits because he know it was fake. It was staged.
Bianca, here's the video. Let's watch. Mike, stand by.
It was staged.
President, 10, 15 minutes ago.
Sounds like gunfire inside the correspondence. Let's see if he runs.
Okay, so it looks like our mics are hot. So I think I saw the First Lady put her hand over her mouth. She clearly heard gunshots.
This evening.
Yeah, well, the most important thing is for
I'm also trying to understand too. The ballroom's on lockdown, which does make sense if they've got a shooter.
If they think they've
got a
contained the
shooter.
shooter. So, Mike, can you, pardon me one second, Mike, what's happening around you? There's obviously a lot happening. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Or is anyone in authority telling you what's next?
No, we are, again, we're stuck in the middle of the ballroom now. Ed and Bianca, everyone is standing up. You do have some commotion.
See, she ain't scared.
Towards one end of the ballroom.
They ain't scared.
Sitting on the
Ain't nobody running out.
left anyway.
They walking out. It's a fire drill.
Left of the ballroom does appear to be a kind of a rush towards the exits now.
Okay, exactly.
The reporters leaving.
Right, Mike, you can't see that, but you can see it live, right? And on our screen right now, live, we are showing a lot of people streaming out. So is that what it appears?
We're seeing people leaving.
Bruh.
Again, and I'm right in the middle of the day.
Look at 'em.
So I'm just observing it from about.
They
200
taking
feet away,
pictures.
But people are trying to get out of the ballroom. They did have us locked
They're not
down
running.
A better 10 minutes after this.
They all got their
Now it
phone.
appears anyone who wants to leave is trying to get the heck out of here. Obviously, this
Oh,
dinner
girl, still
has
trying to
been,
be seen.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going
essentially
forward.
ended for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, well, the most important thing is for everyone there, especially the President of the United States and the First Lady.
She was like,
safe.
hello, hello.
It's remarkable. I was at dinner at Mar-a-Lago last night. I saw the President, spoke to him just for a brief second, not a real and he waved and he talked to some people, and he looked like he's in great spirits. He's in the middle of this war, as Mike has been reporting. Bianca, here's the video. Let's watch. Mike, stand by. This is the President, 10, 15 minutes ago as this played out. Let's roll the video if we have it. Okay, so it looks like our mics are hot. So I think I saw the First Lady put her hand over her mouth. She clearly heard gunshots or something.
And here they are.
We have it.
How you know the food wasn't hot? That wasn't the First Lady? Are you kidding me? Now they trying to play in our face. Oh my God. Lord. Naturally Norlands. They trying to say she, the First Lady, is she the lookalike? Girl, I know they lying to me. Naturally Norlands. Lord, I was now I know you know I was finna sit here and break this shit down. Is this supposed to be Melania? Please tell me that this right here is her. But he said, oh, is this Fox 4? Who is Newsmax? Boy, why you lying? Because this is not Melania. But she put her hand, They still over here going over. Okay, so this is, look at this person right here trying to get in on. Is this his plaything? Is this Melania? Oh my God today. Are you showing them a piece of paper on what's being next? What I'm gonna need for you to do? Is this security? So, cause oh boy don't know who she is, so he just made her Melania. And y'all thought the T-Strippers was finna fall for that. Let's see who this is. Let's go. So ain't neither one of them Melania. Where your wife at, man? Where your wife at, man? Huh? Where it people ain't going for, no, we ain't falling for none. You have had more attempts on your life than the law allow. And I'm sorry, that was my fault. That was my fault. Let me flip this. That was my fault. Hold on. That was my fault. Yeah. You done had more attempts on your life than the law allow. How are you the president and you getting all these attempts, you know, all of these attempts, huh? And ain't none of them landed. You still got your ear. Ain't none of them landed. But carry on.
Okay, so
So let me drop you. Yeah, let me drop you. Cause even Fatso, he ain't even moved fast enough for me. You understand? I mean, you know, sometimes he act like he can't hear in his good ear. Sometimes he do. But why he didn't move fast enough? You know he's scary.
have it.
He'll run off the stage in a minute. Oh, there she go. Where is your wife? Where's your wife? She wasn't at Don Jr.'s wedding party, you know. She just ain't been around. She don't want to be a part of none of your fake shenanigans shit. I'm just saying. He still ain't heard it, y'all. He still ain't heard it. She don't put her hand up. I mean, ain't now one of them hopped up. Where they do that at? He's still sitting down. They don't heard gunshots, right? They don't heard them because she, she done did all that. Let me check my breath shit, you know. Yeah, but she's still sitting. You know, blow in your hand. You know, maybe it delayed, maybe, I don't know. Why they still sitting? Couldn't have been black. We'd have been up under the table. The first shot, she put her hand on her mouth. Their eyes got big, and they still sitting. Shit. Well, where your wife at? Why this man lied and said that's your wife? Let's go.
Okay, so it looks like our mics are hot. So I think I saw the First Lady put her hand over her mouth. She clearly heard gunshots or
Yep,
something.
and here they are,
And now they're
off
being
the
rushed
stage.
out. This is the video I was referring to a moment ago. That
Ran
certainly
that
appears the President and First Lady
diaper
are
man
safe.
out of there, didn't he?
Referring to a moment ago that certainly appears.
Diaper man.
Okay, so it looks like our mics are hot. So I think I saw the First Lady put her hand
Oh, he
over
ducked.
her mouth. She clearly heard
ducked.
gunshots
Yep,
or something.
and here they are,
And now they're
And
being
crawled
rushed
that
out.
ass out. That
This is
wasn't
the
him.
video I was
Did he
referring to
crawl out?
a moment ago that certainly appears the
Who did they grab? Cause I saw him duck. I thought I saw him duck. Hold on. Donald duck. Huh? Hold on. Donald. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if you stop, dropped and rolled. Ah. Lord, come on, let's go.
15 minutes ago as this played out. Let's roll the video if we have it.
I need to see. Hey, okay. Okay, so he right here. He right here. Let's see if he ducked.
Okay, so it looks like our mics are hot. So I think I saw the First Lady put her hand over her mouth. She clearly
they
heard
grabbed it.
gunshots or
Yep,
something.
and here
They walked him
And now
out.
they're being
Oh,
rushed
let's
out.
go.
This is the video I was referring to a moment ago that certainly appears the President and First Lady are safe. Now, unfortunately, we don't know what happened when they were whisked away, but one would expect that the Secret Service put
It's
it
all stage. I mean, security is right there, but ain't nobody in the hallway. Ain't nobody where, I mean, you pop up here. All the crowd still sitting down, gnawing on their food, just gnawing it down. They hear, but who in the hall?
expect that the Secret Service put a phalanx around them and that they're heading back to the White House, which is just a couple of minutes from there. You see the president looking up in this video, Mike. And he looks
There is-
alarmed, like what's going on, and then all of a sudden the
I
Secret
do
Service.
want to share here, TMZ, and we will source them, are saying that the shooter has been killed outside the correspondence
Yes, those
center.
have been reports.
So
And
those are reports.
And then I heard that he
I'm
wasn't.
seeing the Citizens app, which covers law enforcement, saying that there were some protesters as well, guys, that breached
Yeah, I
some
heard
of the
that.
areas. I'm not sure if the protesters were, included the shooter or whether there were shooters.
He
These
trying to
initial reports
get
from TMZ
excuse
and
to
others
go
suggest
golfing.
the shooter, as I mentioned a moment ago.
Y'all come
Okay,
in
you
hitting
can
the
see
like button.
one of the reporters.
Hey, Reflection.
Who's up there? It looks like maybe the president of the White House Correspondents
It was,
Association.
yeah,
She's
from
with
CBS, yeah.
She put her hand over her mouth. There she is. Hand over her mouth.
My
And
breath. I need to
stopping
check and
that
see if
right
my
there,
breath stinks
as if
because
she
of the
heard
president.
initial gunshot. Mike, real quick, do you have anything
Goodbye.
else? Because we want to bring in some analysts to handle it. Mike, do you have anything else real quick?
That's the same hotel Ronald
Just
Reagan
had
was
a
shot at.
presenter come to the podium and say that the festivities will resume. So it does appear that God knows
Hey,
how this
Esther.
is going to work, but they are going to try to continue this event this
Hi,
evening.
Silver,
Obviously, the
Silver
president
Eyes.
is gone.
You been waiting on
and
me?
You have a number of people that are clearly shaken up over this, but it does appear that you may be able to see the aftermath of
Hi,
this,
Gilmer.
and we hope to get more information and more information just told to us here in the ballroom itself. But stay tuned, because it does appear that this program is going to still commence, at least
Because it was staged.
momentarily.
All right, Mike, you stand by. Stay safe. Let our producers know when you have more.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. That was just moments ago. The video there, it is hard to watch again. President Trump at his very first White House Correspondents' Dinner had been there for less than 30 minutes here inside Washington Hilton.
He's
And
heard this too many times before with these threats, these
Yeah.
assassination attempts. This is a live look now. Let's
Yeah,
bring in
I don't know
Chelsea
who
Reno. I think we
booking
have
it.
him.
You know,
He's
God
our
forgive me,
Homeland
but I don't know who hiring these people. Maybe they, they doing it on their own. But why does everybody keep missing? If you're not a marksman, a markswoman, breaking that. You coming in here breaking. Trump is rushed from dinner. Reports of shots fired. There was no indication that the president was hurt. No, he wasn't hurt. We saw he better not come back saying he was hurt. He better not. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you not. Stop lying. Stop saying you need $1 billion out of the treasury because somebody scared me. I was scared. I was scared for my life. Somebody invaded my dinner. I didn't get a chance to eat. It's deformation on fat. My belly. I wasn't gonna eat no way because all I eat is McDonald's and Burger King because I need to get my blood intake. He will, so I put Mossad because, I heard the protester. I did hear a protester, but I think who gonna try to get him is the Mossad because he not going with Israel's plan. He want to back up out of there because it's not going the way he thought. I guess he learned the hard way. The dreams don't always come true. Woo! Dreams don't always come true. Yeah. And they pissed because the Strait of Hormuz is open to everybody except you in Israel. Y'all plan fail. Backfire. Bombs.
Security analyst, former top DHS official. And you can see various reporters. I think that's a C-SPAN anchor. There's Frank Luntz, the pollster behind him.
They don't seem scared
People
enough
are
for me.
trying to make sense looking at their phones of what's going on. The good news is it appears that people are safe.
When you
But
wish
let's bring
upon
in
a star.
Charles, you're seeing this as...
They didn't seem
hang on.
scared enough
Here's
for
the
me.
president of the association. Let's listen in.
Yeah.
Okay, can we get... Where's the audio?
I know everyone's going to want as many details as possible, and right now we don't have that, but I can tell you that our program is going to resume momentarily.
Because it was staged.
We will have more details to share also momentarily, but for now, please just be patient as we figure out just how much time it will be, but it shouldn't be that much longer. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised they're going to go forward.
I am too, and the clapping for
Cause it was staged. He gonna come out and raise his soul. Soul, brother, I'm strong. My ear can handle all of this.
But we
Yeah,
really have
no.
to pause here. The gravity of this, the fact that someone was able to enter, it looks like they may have been, taken down. But this again, too close for President Trump here.
I think Mike said about 40 yards from the president. Obviously, there are a lot of weapons out there that could reach President, First Lady, some of the reporters. The Vice President, J.D. Vance, was on stage as well.
And all the cabinet members that were sitting in there.
In different tables and whatnot. Let's bring in Charles Marino to analyze this. Charles, first of all, from a law enforcement standpoint, then we'll get to the event and all the rest of it. I still haven't heard a direct word from the White House about the president's safety, though the initial video we have suggests he was safe. What do you read and what should we be looking at? What's going through your mind?
Well, there's a lot of things for the Secret Service to
It was
consider here.
staged.
Is this just one of many? So they want to get the president out of there as quickly and as safely as possible. We saw a reaction both from the president and the first lady. So either they heard the shots or they saw the reactions of others that caused them concern. Obviously, we're going to want to know, did a weapon get into that screening mechanism that the Secret Service puts in place to prevent these types of weapons from making their way in, or was this something that happened outside of the screening area? In other words,
It was
did
staged.
somebody try and come into the event already shooting at those magnetometer checkpoints where the Secret Service was
I heard
forced
somebody.
to engage? Either
They
way,
waiting for the
know
press
that the
conference.
threats against the President of the United States have never been higher in history than they are now, especially as we're engaged in a war with Iran. So
Trump
the
to hold
threats are
a
off the charts
press
right
brief.
now. This is very concerning. I would be very surprised to see, Bianca, if this event goes on.
I know.
I see no reason for it to go on.
Yeah, why would they?
Right.
Grave concern.
The clapping was just so off tone.
Awkward, awkward,
Charles, let me
unbelievable.
ask you something, because we could focus on the perimeter of the security. There's protesters outside. Ed and I, when we were there a few years ago,
2 years ago, yeah.
wild people. They were coming up after you. So we know there's a perimeter. We know there's magnetometers. So, but what about the possibility that whomever this
That
was,
was not
we're
the-
assuming that was one
absolutely
person.
not.
She said they still have not come out to say maybe there were others. Well, what if there was a weapon that was left days ago? I mean, talk to us about the sweep that should go on days before an event like this, because then
Is that what
somebody
they-
comes in,
Silver.
pretends to be an employee, pretends to be a delivery person, and there's something left behind for someone. There's just so many things that can go wrong in a situation like this. But
I already called it.
Precautions as far as sweeping the room here, in addition to the perimeter, which clearly was breached.
Yeah, the advanced process here for an event like this, once there's no.
He gonna step down here shortly. Y'all hit the like button. Double tap
There's an advanced
the face of your
process that
screen.
takes place. And one of those things that is of great concern of the Secret Service is whether or not any
Y'all, he
type
couldn't
of
even let me
weapons
have
have
my
been
cousin.
secreted, beforehand, prior
Hi,
to that
Janice.
event. And that's where these sweeps, you're exactly right, that take place before the president and the
Let me
First
see.
Lady
Let me get
ever
another
arrive
device.
on the scene.
Y'all, I got
is,
too many
is
devices
taking
going for
place.
y'all not to hit the
Those
like button.
include canine sweeps and technical security sweeps to make sure that there's nothing that could have been planted ahead of that could cause harm to the president or his family in advance, to make sure that those are detected, mitigated, and investigated.
Somebody
as to
let that
whether or
man
not
in.
The president should show up there anyway. So this is something that takes place with Secret Service procedures, with protocols, which tells me this is going to be more of a dynamic type
Thank you,
of
Silver
attack
Eyes.
by whoever.
Charles, can I just ask you one more thing, because we're going to get to Jonathan Gilliam in a minute. There's a gentleman who is just up there with a yellow measuring tape, and I'm wondering if, the president, after Butler, would only speak outdoors with a larger bulletproof podium that they use outdoors. And usually indoor, it's so secure or it's supposed to be, that he didn't have that full bulletproof. I don't know what they're measuring, but it seems odd to me that maybe the Secret Service is going to
Folks
try
is
to bring
tired
the
of y'all
president
lying
back
in their face.
with bulletproof glass to address this audience to say, hey, the shooter's not going to win here. But Charles,
Hi,
what do you make
Nicole.
of that possibility of the president maybe coming back?
Well, we'll see, and ultimately that will be up to the Secret Service to give the go-ahead as far as
If they
throwing
give
up
the
something
go
like
ahead
bulletproof
after
glass.
somebody was shooting in
I'm
the
not
White
entirely
House,
sure that that's something that we would necessarily
then
see.
it was
It's
staged.
something
So
that's
you want for
available,
somebody,
that's been built in on
listen,
site as a
look,
just in case.
Okay, we're showing video now, by the way, of Secret Service officers running through the halls of the Washington Hilton, as you can see. Stand by,
oh, so it
Charles.
wasn't the White
We just got
House.
Jonathan Gillum as well. We want to get him in, and we appreciate you, Charles. We'll come back to you in a minute. Jonathan, what are you making of
I
this
thought it
video
was at the
you're
White
seeing that's
House.
playing out here in Washington tonight, sir?
So why they running
Well,
through
you
the
know, listening
Hilton?
to Charles talk there just a second ago, I'm just astounded that there was any way that a shooter
Incident
would be
at
able to
White
get
House
into the
CA
vicinity
dinner.
of the president inside. As I'm watching this right here, I don't know. It's again, it's a weekend. I'm sitting here trying to create a
Why
hobby because
security
I've always worked
walking
and
and
work out. That's all I
switching?
ever do. And
Why
I
he
can't even do that
walking
because
and
this
switching?
ridiculousness
All
keeps
not needed
happening
and
over and
all.
over again in this
Why he not
nation.
running?
And to see this response by the Secret Service of them moving towards something that's inside that, I'm astounded by it. I have been around the Secret Service for many, many years, starting when I was in college. And Ronald Ray, actually, even before that, when I was elementary or junior high, when
So at
Ronald Reagan visited Little Rock,
9:03,
Arkansas, and then again when Bill Clinton was elected president, and I was working in
New
a
York
hotel, and
Times,
all
so
the Secret
10:01,
Service
they
was
said
paying me, so I was
suspect
the van
detained
driver
after
taking them everywhere.
gunfire near
And they were
dinner
hidden,
attended by
they
Trump.
were
So which one is it?
astute, and no
Is he
one got
alive
close. When
or
Ronald
is he
Reagan came to town, they
detained?
shut the whole city down, and yet somehow somebody gets a weapon inside of this event. I'm shocked by it, to be honest with you. You can tell.
Yeah, as are we. And then they said the program might continue. And Ed was just saying maybe, perhaps, if there was some type of bulletproof casing, which President Trump has been behind at public events, and also maybe there was, because this,
I don't know why else
this is
Another
a,
kid
I
sacrifice.
don't know either. But, the point here is, obviously, this was high profile. President Trump, the perimeters, there's protesters there, Jonathan. We know that there were people saying that they should be shouting at the president. Some of the journalists wrote a letter. So heightened tensions. And the war in Iran with a fat on President Trump. I mean, they've already put out those videos, remember, of him, the video put out by Iran where they said he would be assassinated at his golf course. I mean, this is a point now where what does it take to secure this president when he's going to an event like this? At the end of the day, you have to wonder, if there is a
We're
sense
waiting on the
now
press conference. Hit the like button.
there
Like,
might be
share, subscribe.
any other members of the public. I mean, it has to be something that's pre-taped, or he can't
Support the
be moving at places
platform.
like this where there are people out there.
If it was real,
the
it's
protesters,
absolutely
and
no
the
way
possibility of
he
them
would go back.
breaking
Absolutely
into
not.
a barricade here.
So I'll tell you, first of all, what I think that measuring tape was them setting up mics or
And the attendees wouldn't
things
take
that he
their
leads
asses
off
back
of
in
right
there
there.
either.
That very well could be them resetting things up if things got hit or moved around. I don't think that measuring tape was for a bulletproof, anything I do with bulletproof. I think that was microphone related. Okay, now listen, what you were saying. Again, the Secret Service, I've been to many of these events. I worked at the United Nations General Assembly every year for 3 years as the FBI's representative in New York. And you just don't have people walking in that are not fully screened. You just don't have it. And I don't know if this individual was just outside the door, but even then, there should be a perimeter set up where people are just not allowed to get in anywhere if they're in that room.
I'm looking at video here. Protesters crashing the Correspondence Center, crashing, according to this video, calling out Hegseth, saying he should be arrested for war crimes. So inside the building here. So you have the president, you have the vice president, you have members of the cabinet sitting in this room. Very high profile.
Well, that's part of the conversation too, obviously, right?
They're trying to get it set up, y'all, for a press conference.
From the left.
Right.
let's not forget also Charlie Kirk's assassination. Let's just put that on the table.
Absolutely.
Quick thought from you, Jonathan. I want to get to one of our colleagues who's live there. Quick last thought for now.
First Amendment be damned if our president gets killed, and we right now at this point we're at a war with a nation that is basically a giant terrorist unit. I think right now the Secret Service needs to stop being political, and if people want to have the president at an event, they need to be prepared not to bring anything into that event except the clothes on their back.
Yeah. All right,
And
Jonathan, you'll appreciate it.
these people have breached a secure area.
Right. All right, Jonathan, we'll get back to you in a moment. Let's go to our colleague, Rob Schmidt. I believe he's there live joining us by phone. Okay, we're trying to get Rob by phone.
Yeah.
They told us that he was there. Okay, go ahead.
As you can imagine, the president of the White House Correspondents' Center, who was also sitting to the side of the president, who had said it was meaningful for them to be here, had come out just minutes ago saying the program would resume. Yes, I think the ballroom's pretty much empty at this point. I think people were rattled clearly, and they were locked down as this was happening after they got the president off the stage. People inside that ballroom for a while, as our Mike Carter was saying, there was sort of a
This is a breaking
some
news
people
alert.
say
Shots have been fired at the
Let's go
White
to our
House
boys.
Correspondents' Dinner
This
at
is
the
your
Hilton
video
Hotel
as it was
in Washington,
unfolding. That's
D.C.
sort of in
Donald
the
Trump
middle,
and Melania evacuated.
where they were sort of in the middle of the
shooter
ballroom. They're looking at the stage here. Now you see what
Yeah,
we
because
didn't
I got
see
it.
when we first
As soon
came
as
to
they
air,
start talking
which is
with the
essentially
press
a SWAT.
conference, we're going to tap on over there. I want to hear what Midas is saying.
in D.C. Donald Trump and Melania. This is a breaking news alert. Shots have been fired at the White House Correspondents' Dinner at the Hilton Hotel in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump and Melania evacuated. The shooter has been apprehended. The shooter did not appear to be all that close to where Donald Trump and Melania and where the center stage was. However, what we're hearing is as they were, the shooter was potentially
So, or were
walking
they
through the
detained or are they
magnetometer.
unalive?
That's when he started opening fire. There's some conflicting reports about the condition of the shooter. The term now being used is apprehended. We will get you more information there. A chaotic scene has just unfolded at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. It's now officially canceled. We're learning right now as a result
So
of
is
this
it canceled or
shooting
are they
incident.
coming back?
The Secret Service had secured the location. Chaotic scenes coming out of the building. Let me just share with you the moment where Secret Service evacuated Donald Trump, Melania, and the people who were on stage. Let's play that clip right now.
Yeah, even secrets.
You see that over there? Here are some
Hold on.
Donald Trump, Melania,
The
and
guns,
people who were
the
on
fake
stage.
RoboCops
Let's play
don't
that
even
clip
seem
right
right to
now.
me. RoboCop. Hey! Ain't nobody saying, everybody get out! Get out! Exit to the left! Ain't nobody saying nothing.
You see that over there? Here are some photos.
No command,
See that over there?
no
Here
nothing.
are some photos that we're getting from this incident. You see MAGA Mike Johnson there running away with Secret Service. More individuals running away. Secret Service securing the scene. You see RFK Jr. Over there. What we're hearing is that the shooter at the White House Correspondents' Dinner was armed with a rifle and a magazine. This is what eyewitnesses have been telling Wall Street Journal and others. A guest at the dinner, Erin Thielman, a military veteran, left the ballroom to call her son and heard 3 loud bangs that she believed to be gunfire. She saw a man fall flat right in front of her. He was carrying what appeared to be a rifle and magazines. Thielman then went downstairs and others. A guest at the dinner, Erin Thielman, a military veteran, left the ballroom to call her son and heard 3 loud bangs that she believed to be gunfire. She saw a man fall flat right in front of her. He was carrying what appeared to be a rifle and magazines. Thielman then went downstairs and saw security people pulling out their pistols. What Fox and others are reporting as well is that the suspect attempted to charge the metal detectors at the venue entrance, was shooting in the vicinity of Secret Service members, and that's when they started firing back. Fox reports that the suspect is in custody after shots fired. There was conflicting reports from CNN that the shooter is dead. We have these photos right here, though, which are the first images coming out about the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooter, who's now in custody. You can see right there the individual on the ground. We'll show you more of the chaotic footage right here when the moment Secret Service evacuated Trump, Melania, and everybody who was on the stage who was rushed out. Here, playing this clip.
Now it's fascinating. Let me tell you how I know this is fake. Can I tell y'all? Now we done seen the two women up close and personal.
Play this clip.
This lady was not Melania. That is not. Oh, that may be her. That may be her. Okay, that may be her in shock. Okay, my bad. So they didn't rush her out. She had to crawl out.
Message was posted from Donald Trump at 6:17 p.m. West Coast time, 9:17 East Coast. Quite an evening in D.C. Secret Service and law enforcement did a fantastic job. They acted quickly and bravely. The shooter has been apprehended, and I have recommended that we let the show go
I know y'all
on, but will
playing.
entirely be guided by law enforcement.
Y'all better hit the like
They will
button.
make a decision shortly. Regardless of that decision, the evening will be much different than planned, and we'll just plain have to do it again, Donald J. Trump. And then he posted about 20 minutes later or so, law enforcement has requested that we leave the premise consistent with protocol, which we will do.
Well, it kind of did that time when she was in shock.
30 minutes from the White House briefing room. The First Lady plus the Vice President and all cabinet members are in perfect condition. We will be speaking to you in a half an hour. I've spoken with all the representatives in charge of the event, and we'll be
It looked like her when she was kind of afraid. Okay, now watch. Okay. They don't look like her. It look like she, cause she looks shocked. Like, I'm trying to kill. You said, oh no. Well, this one over here, what was I looking at? Cause they showed a picture of her, and y'all don't think that's her? Yeah, it do. It do. It look like that's her to me now, in shock. But she wasn't the one who put her hand over her mouth. That was Lucy Goosey. But that it do look like her in shock. Now, it was a better picture over here that I just looked at. Was it here? But yeah, it looked like her. Yeah. Right there. That's her. That's her. Yeah, because she lightened her hair. Yeah, I saw that Netanyahu has supposedly prostate. He already gone, y'all. Now he got prostate, and he been knowing for a while. He been knowing for 2 months. How long was it that he was assassinated? And he was supposed to come out in March or something, 15th or whatever, and speak. So he finna pass away from prostate cancer. He already gone. Stop that. That's her.
I'm standing in front of a public school which had just gone into the field for
The following message was posted from Donald Trump at 6:17 p.m. West Coast time, 9:17 East Coast. Quite an evening in D.C. Secret Service and law enforcement did a fantastic job. They acted quickly and bravely. The shooter has been apprehended, and I have recommended that we let the show go on, but will entirely be guided by law enforcement. They will make a decision shortly. Regardless of that decision, the evening will be much different than planned, and we'll just plain have to do it again, Donald J. Trump. And then he posted about 20 minutes later or so, law enforcement has requested that we leave the premise consistent with protocol, which we will do immediately. I will be giving a press conference in 30 minutes from the White House briefing room. The First Lady plus the Vice President and all cabinet members are in perfect condition. We will be speaking to you in a half an hour. I have spoken with all the representatives in charge of the event, and we'll be rescheduling within 30 days, Donald J. Trump. We'll show you over here, though, where the host, Whch, informed the White House Correspondents' Dinner audience that the program was going to resume, but then ultimately it didn't resume. Here's what she had to say. Play this clip.
We have an announcement. I know everyone's going to want as many details as possible, and right now we don't have that, but I can tell you that our program is going to resume momentarily. We will have more details to share also momentarily.
Because it was staged.
But for now, please just be patient as we figure out just how much time it will be, but it shouldn't be that much longer. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You know, and notably before the event.
Now over here is the picture that I saw, and I said, "Oh yeah, that may have been her because she's lightened her hair. She's trying to, she faking the funk. Let me make it bigger. Let me see if I can make it bigger." So yeah, that was her. She lighting her hair. She going into hiding. Not hiding. Hiding. Yeah, that was her. Not sharp enough. Nope. What my mama used to say, you got to get up early in the morning, not sleep at night, to pull one over on me. That's what my mama used to tell my brothers when they was trying to sneak in the house or trying to sneak girls in the house. Baby, she said you got to get up early in the morning. Can't even sleep at night to pull one over on Queen Bee.
Started, you had Caroline Levitt on Fox saying the following. Let's play it.
Ready to rumble, is he not?
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump.
Oh,
it'll be
definitely.
funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I love it all. And you wrote most of it, you said.
I can't take credit. In true Donald Trump fashion, the man puts his pen to the paper himself. So it's a lot of...
Oh, that's
Just
a
another
lie.
angle of the chaos unfolding at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You can see for yourself. Let's play it.
Katie, do you have all your stuff?
Wolf Blitzer officer was in the vicinity of when the shooting took place. Here's what he was telling CNN. Let's.
Yeah. Looked like he ran past the metal detector, and then there were guys coming at him, and that's what he. And Secret Service, it was several shots from several Secret Service officers. Did he have a firearm? I have no idea. Nobody saw a firearm, but he was running.
So what did they hear?
He was in a full sprint. He was running, so to me it looked like he went to attack. But I had no idea. I thought Blitzer was the guy there, but I guess he was right there. Yeah, that was loud. And then you quickly ran into the restroom. I hit the deck and I waited. No, I was you security guards were on your back. You dove into the restroom.
There's security in the bathroom.
So that was an eyewitness. I'm not going to say the person's name because I'm live and there's no way for me to confirm it. But there is, in corporate media, Secret Service spokesperson. But the shooter was definitely pinned down immediately after firing off, as Walt Blitzer said.
I'm trying to get to where I heard. Let me keep listening. Way too much going on.
Play this clip.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Wolf, can you estimate the number of shots you heard fired or the number of people that you saw with a gun that you believe were the gunmen? Was it one person? Are there multiple people?
I was a few feet away from this one gunman who was shooting just randomly, and I'm guessing I heard at least.
I don't believe it, y'all. Do y'all? What y'all think?
And they were boom.
Is it real or is it fake?
And I haven't heard gunshots like that in a long time. And it was very close to me, but the next thing I knew, I couldn't see anything else because a couple of police officers were jumping on me and trying to protect me. So I was down on the ground with police officers on top of me.
Could you hear the officers talking to the gunman, and what were they saying?
I think by then the gunman was shot. I could be wrong, but the gunman had stopped firing, and he was on the ground. And I'm standing outside. There's a lot of FBI, a lot of Metropolitan Police, a lot of military personnel who are all here. It looks like it's beefing up big time. There's a lot of DEA. There's a lot of law enforcement here dealing with this because they don't.
More of Wolf Blitzer describing what took place. Let's play this clip.
After they served the appetizers, I walked out to simply go to the men's room, but you have to walk up these stairs and walk out, and which I was doing. And as I was walking back towards the door to get back into the big area where the event was taking place, all of a sudden I start hearing gunshots in the hall right near me.
Oh, okay.
And the next thing I knew, a police officer.
Hold on.
And in a certain way it did. Because
was threw me to the ground and was on top of me. And I was listening and watching what was going on. And apparently,
he live. Hold on.
We had a major weapon there, but it was so worrisome. The noise was so loud.
And he was taken down by
Oh, freedom of speech.
Secret Service, and they acted very quickly and have just released, for purposes of transparency, clarity, I've ordered it to be put out. You probably have it by now. Put out on Truth and put out on many of the platforms. A tape showing the violence of this charge that attacked our Constitution, and also showing how quickly Secret Service and law enforcement acted.
And also showing how quickly Secret Service and law enforcement acted on our country's behalf. Really did a great job.
But saved by the fact that
One officer was shot, but saved by the fact that he was wearing obviously a very good bulletproof vest.
Very
He was
good.
Shot from very close distance with a very powerful gun. And the vest did the job. I just spoke to the officer and he's doing great. He's in great shape. He is has very high spirits, and we told him that they just unified. I saw a room that was just totally unified. It was in one way very beautiful.
Y'all, let's go back, cause
That was very unexpected, but incredibly acted upon by Secret Service and law enforcement. And this was an event dedicated to freedom of speech that was supposed to bring
together members of both parties with members of the press. And in a certain way it did, because the fact that they just unified, I saw a room that was just totally unified. It was in one way very beautiful, a very beautiful thing to see. A man charged a security checkpoint armed with multiple weapons, and he was taken down by some very brave members of Secret Service, and they acted very quickly and have just released, for purposes of transparency, clarity, I've ordered it to be put out. You
Korean
probably
God.
have it by now. Put out on Truth and put out on many other platforms.
God
The
bless
tape showing
America.
the violence of this thug that attacked our Constitution, and also showing
And
how
only the
quickly
ones
Secret
who are
Service
really
and law
for
enforcement acted
America.
on our country's behalf. Really did a great job.
Not traitors of the U.S.,
One officer
in my
was shot,
opinion.
but saved by the
Multiple
fact that
weapons. Already
he was
lying. It
wearing
was
obviously a
staged.
very good bulletproof
For
vest.
sympathy.
It was
Let's
shot
be
from very
clear.
close.
Let's be the absolute clearest. It was staged for sympathy because he was going down, down, down. So no, God will not bless Trump until he asks God, humble himself and ask God for forgiveness for being a traitor of the United States, for being a child rapist, in unaliving minors, grown folk. No, absolutely not. God bless America. I mean, it's God bless America, not God bless Trump. You understand? We not gonna fake the funk. We ain't finna come over here lying. We ain't finna excuse all of his bad behavior for a fake stage movie scene. He's an actor. He's a liar. He's a thief. He's a rapist. And he is the enemy of the United States. We not gonna lie about none of it. We gonna call it what it is. Okay? We clear? We clear? We not finna fake the funk. No, sir. You're not finna come in here lying like somebody saying God bless Trump. God bless him for what? For playing the devil game, for selling his soul to the devil, for unaliving center-eyed military forces on a side mission. Oh, hell to the no. We ain't gonna play like that. No, he needs to humble himself and turn from his wicked ways. He needs to confess his sins. Raise your hand. Lift them bad baby up and say, I surrender all. Lord, I'm sorry. Can you please forgive me? Please forgive me for all my misdeeds. God, forgive me for playing with the Pope. God, forgive me for playing with your name, mockery. God, forgive me. God, forgive me. I was in deeper. I thought it would be easy for me to get out. I was faking this and faking that, playing the end against the middle. I was playing a game, and the game wound up playing me. Okay? I sold my soul to the devil. Lord, please forgive me. Please save me. Because I know I can't do it. I know now that I can't play these devilish games without consequences. And them Epstein files still gonna come out. They still gonna come out. So all of this chaos that you're creating to hide your failures, it's not gonna work. Because we are not buying none of it. It was fake. It was fake. It wasn't real. Why they ain't showed the guy yet? Now they gonna show somebody, but he gonna be just like the other little Simple Simon guy that just thought he was a crisis actor, and now they are dragging it out. I wonder, are they still getting paid while they sit in jail? I mean, since it was an act. They just didn't know that it was gonna be long term. Yeah. Cut ain't happened yet. The end hadn't happened. Just like Tyler Robinson. Yeah. And some of these crisis actors, for whatever reason, some of them y'all look like y'all may be unaliving them for real. Why? They're not them scientists. Why? Why? After you said I'm gonna release the extraterrestrial ET phone home, aliens mating and baiting with him, I mean, you know, and then they just all of a sudden something's in the water, or I can't live no more. You done play with ET phone home, you done play with all of this other stuff. Aliens shooting basketball, basketball is my favorite sport, And now all of them want to just what? Why? The gig is up. It's in the Epstein files. The shit is finna come out now. And you afraid that somebody, one or the other, gonna tell on your rump to the dump ass. Yeah. That part. Let's go.
Distance with a very powerful gun.
How you know it's very powerful?
Did the job. I just spoke to the officer and he's doing great. He's in great shape. He is has very high spirits. And
E.T.
told him
phone home, yeah.
Him. And he's a very proud guy. He's very proud of what he does, Secret Service agent. And we looked at all of the conditions that took place tonight, and I will say, it's not a particularly secure building. And
why are you there?
I don't want to say this, but this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone-proof, it's bulletproof glass. We need the ballroom.
So this is a push for the ballroom. Lord. This is a push for the ballroom. Ladies and gentlemen, it was staged to push the ballroom. And there it is.
I didn't want to say this, but this
I
is
didn't
why
want to
we
say
have
it.
to have all of the
I really don't want to say it. I don't know. It's just, this is, I need my bunker because they coming to get me. Yeah. They're coming to get me, and I need the hospital under the White House. I need my own, but I need the ballroom. Do you need a ballroom? Or because what does the larger ballroom housing a certain amount of people having to do with security letting? I mean, they just approved this money for DHS. I mean, how did security let them get past? Huh? How did yo security, huh? FBI, yeah. Rubio, Lio, how did they get past? So you're not gonna complain about your Secret Service, yo high, I'm getting high, I'm getting drunk, I'm getting woo-wee on the planes and everything else. You ain't saying nothing about them. You saying, I just need a bigger room. If the room was bigger, this wouldn't have happened. I didn't want to say it. But a bigger room, not better security, huh? Not better security. That's where they hosted the event. You got your own security. You got these men toting all these heavy guns running down the hall and stuff, and you mean the government outran your security with the big guns? What in the world? Now, what you need that money for? Oh, for more drinking and partying on the plane. Yeah, okay, let's go.
It's not a particularly secure building, and I didn't want to say this, but this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's a much more secure.
Dude, them folk not coming to the White House. They not negotiating. So who all you thought you was gonna party with? You know, slide kids in for the dignitaries and shit. They don't want to arc with you. You didn't get the memo? Oh, you can't read. You know, they didn't write it big enough. They didn't write it with elementary, kindergarten Crayolas and stuff. I mean, so what? You ain't get the memo that they ain't ucking with you, that they making deals all around you. You didn't get that memo? You didn't get that memo. Lord, how you didn't get that memo? Let me see if I got one. Let me see. Look here, you got, look. Man, they playing in your face and you trying to play in ours. They are making deals all around you. Oh, dum-dum. Dum-dum. Huh? Look at her. Look at this. Look at this. It's coming. They making deals all of Putin. I am totally, yeah. They making deals around you. So what you need a big ballroom for? They not ucking with you. They're not ucking with you. Yeah, they are not ucking with you. You do not need a larger ballroom because them dignitaries is through with you. They don't even want your money. If they don't want the dollar bill, they damn sure don't want the bitcoins and stuff. They think that you are a con artist. You, your son, and son-in-law. What are we doing? Oh, I wasn't supposed to call you out like that. I was supposed to act like, okay. I don't feel, you know, I got my family and stuff. I gotta call you out. Because the minute I let you make it, just like somebody else today, the minute you let them make it, they still gotta bump their gums. Talk that thick. Yeah, no. They ain't ucking with you, man. They making deals around you. They do not want nothing to do with you. They want they want you DEA D or alive. I'm already demonetized. Yeah, they done already said, you know, you talk too much. You telling everybody the truth.
I didn't want to say this, but this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone-proof, it's bulletproof glass. We need the ballroom. That's why Secret Service, that's why the military are demanding it. They've wanted the ballroom.
All these years, ain't nobody had to have all this before. And there were wars. And rumors of wars. So help me understand why your circumstance, requires more intense security. Yeah, because the people you picked ain't real. They don't know what the they doing. And the people who did know, you fired them. You gave orders to fire them. No, what makes you special? You need it because you done busted down the east wing and you shouldn't have touched it because it's not your house. It's not your house. You feel like you can bypass the proper protocol and then turn around and ask for more money. I don't have to ask y'all to do what I want to do. But I gotta ask you for this money. If you can't go through the proper protocol, then you shouldn't get no money. Yeah, how the hell you think, or we supposed to think you got that $100 million to post that bond? What type of president has to post $100 million cash only bond with 34 convictions? Listen, I mean, the whole system is a failure. Throw all of them out, start over. You so bad that even your partner saying, no, I can't overlook it. Ain't that I can do for you. You understand? You gonna have to pay this money. And now you gotta ask for, yeah. Janet said donations are appreciated. Cash App, AUNTEAFEE. Listen with your good ear. Donations are appreciated. Cash App, $ AUNTEAFEE. Thank you, Janet. Silver, gotcha. Yeah, you understand what's going on? This is bizarre. 34 hands in a female cookie jar without permission. Convicted. Dodge would appeal, thinking that you're not going to have to pay this woman for defamation and stealing her cookies out of her cookie jar because you said she not my type. Well, hell, you was hungry that day for whatever was in the cookie jar. Yeah, you ate the shit out of the cookies in the cookie jar. Yeah, you tried to merge your pickle with some cookies. Yeah. You tried to force your pickle into the cookies. Right, you's a cookie monster. Yeah, he asked the taxpayers to pay for him trying to force his ugly little short, what they call it, the little funny shape, lemon shaped ass pickle. What type of pickle is that? And her cookies. Mushrooms. Yeah, all of that. Let me finish. Let me let these folk talk. Boy, I just cannot with all of this lying. Yeah, you still trying to traffic kids.
150 years for lots of different reasons, but today's a little bit different because today we need levels of security that probably nobody's ever seen before.
Fungus.
But everyone knows tremendous.
Everybody don't know.
To the courage of law enforcement, the law enforcement, and working with the D.C. police, and we just spoke with the mayor. And when we're finished, the police chief is going to take over and discuss it also from their viewpoint. But they also performed exactly as they were supposed to, and you see the attacker in different positions, but you also see the attacker totally subdued and under control. So as you know, this is not the first time in the past couple of years that our republic has been attacked by a would-be assassin who sought to kill. In Butler, Pennsylvania, less than 2 years ago, you all know that story. And in
No, we don't know
Florida,
nothing. We know you
that,
made it up.
We came close. We really had, again, we had some great work done by law enforcement. But in light of this evening's events, I ask that all Americans recommit with their hearts in resolving our difference peacefully. We have to resolve our differences. I will say, you had Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, liberals, and progressives. Those words are interchangeable, perhaps, but maybe they're not. But yet everybody in that room, big crowd, record-setting crowd, there was a record-setting group of people. And there was a tremendous amount of love and coming together. I watched, and I was very, very impressed.
No, the F.
But we were, First Lady and I were.
What is
Very
FYM?
well care, very quickly.
Con
rushed off the
artist.
stage. Vice President
Broke
Vance
when
was here, was likewise
Look at him.
Beautifully done. He was just saying how
Boy, you
everybody acted,
cross-eyed,
law enforcement,
crooked
Secret Service in
nose.
particular in this case, but law enforcement. Marco had the same thing. Pete was there. Pete didn't want any help. He didn't want anybody to help him. He doesn't want anybody to help him, but he did get some, didn't you? And I think you also said that it was very impressive. So with that, I'd like to ask Todd Blanche to come up, say a few words, and tell you it's already underway. The man has been captured. They're going to his apartment. I guess he lives in California. And he's a sick person, a very sick person.
And you are too.
And we don't want things like this to happen. I think it's very important that I say, though.
Did you forget that you asked the limo driver that you remember from Oklahoma? Yeah, that you was his first boy toy. Did you remember you asked him if he would handle, what's her name, Duke's, Dusty? Yeah, you ordered a hit on Dusty. Yeah, the limo driver that was wanted to unalive you, slammed on his brakes on his way to DFW, Love Field, or DFW, I don't remember which one. Slammed on the brakes, made you hit the floor. Yeah, you had your hand on your gold piece and he had his. Yeah, you remember, sir? Yeah, you asked him, could you handle the little girl that you said, yeah, yeah, you brutally raped her. Yeah, and said, what is her name anyway? Who is she? Find somebody to handle it. Yes, the driver, baby. Baby. Yes, indeed. Who knew him personally. Yeah. Put him at one of them elk lodges and stuff. Yeah, where you roasted somebody. And you went in and cut a chunk of meat off of whatever it was that y'all were roasting. And he named Jim Jordan. Yeah, Jim Jordan got turned all the way on about whatever was going on behind the lodge. You thought I forgot? So now what you describing is you. Yeah, you need to be off the streets because you are sick. You like eating unalive people. Yeah. Yeah. You cut a chunk of meat off of something that was going to roasting behind the lodge. You and the good old boys. So don't forget. Please don't forget, because I haven't. Yeah.
And I told the representatives of the evening, they did such a beautiful job. It was such a beautiful evening.
It was staged.
And again, they're talking about free speech in our Constitution. That's what it's all about. Not just White House correspondence. It was really based on free speech in our Constitution. But I said very importantly that we'll do it again within the next 30 days, and we'll make it bigger and better and even nicer. So I just want to thank everybody that was involved. I also want to thank the press, the media. You've been very responsible in your coverage. I will say I've been seeing what's...
Well, we know it was staged. If he is complimenting the press, we know he hates the press. When it's real, he hates the press. So how dare you give them compliments? It was staged. Your coverage was great. It was excellent because it was staged. It was for play. And they covered the play news well. Any other time you be saying fake news. Not one time have I heard you say fake news. Oh, because they all followed the script. Everybody is talking about somebody tried to unalive you. So the coverage of it is great so that you can push that you need, for the judges to let you build a bunker underneath where you could trap well, people can come in at one end and nobody see them. Is it gonna be by the water? Yeah. Y'all like trafficking at night by the water. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that either. Oh, okay. Let's go.
Not just White House correspondence. It was really based on free speech in our Constitution.
He's the victim once again.
But I said very importantly that we'll do it again within the next 30 days, and we'll make it bigger and better and even nicer. So I just want to thank everybody that was involved. I also want to thank the press, the media.
So you didn't like the
Very
hotel.
responsible in your coverage, I will say.
So you
Say
really
what
didn't
came
like
out.
the
You're
setup.
very
You didn't like the
responsible.
hotel. They didn't have the food that you wanted. It was a little beneath you. Is that what you're telling me? The Hilton, man, this was so staged. When did it become staged, y'all? When things didn't go his way, or because they looked like they was having a whole conversation about something. Yeah, the food wasn't good. That's not what you ordered. Oh yeah, I need you needed to be able to bring McDonald's in, and they said no. Oh, okay.
So Todd Blanche, I'd like to say a few words, and then we're going to have cash, and then you're going to go on. We can ask. I guess we can take a couple of questions. I want to thank the First Lady that was a rather traumatic experience for her. There's a lot of action taking place up there very quickly. But again, the response time was really incredible.
So you was sitting a
And
mile
we're
away
going to
from
reschedule.
her.
We're going to do it again. We're not going to let anybody take over our society. We're not going to cancel things out because we can't do that. We wanted to stay tonight. I will tell you, I fought like hell to stay. But it was protocol. They said, please, sir. Because they didn't know there was a lot of action going on, and they didn't know could there be probably a lone shooter, but we'll find out. We'll find out very quickly.
I don't know why they keep missing. How that happened?
And, Todd Blanche, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Tonight you saw the very worst and the very best of this country.
No.
You saw the very worst by the actions of that coward.
No, that wasn't the worst.
But
What
you
y'all
also
did
saw
to
the very
those
best
little girls and
because you
boys
saw law
were the
enforcement do
worst.
Exactly what they're supposed to do. And you'll see the videos come out, I expect, very shortly, and you'll see law enforcement do exactly what we want them to do. And so I echo what what President Trump just said, that we are extraordinarily grateful and appreciative of the men and women of law enforcement.
How's it the worst?
That did their jobs tonight, including one who was injured. This investigation is ongoing.
Who was injured?
Charges filed shortly.
Who was injured?
Charges should do exactly what we want them to do. And so I echo what President Trump just said, that we are extraordinarily grateful and appreciative of the men and women of law enforcement that did their jobs tonight, including one who was injured. This investigation is ongoing. I expect you will see charges filed shortly. The charges should be self-evident given the conduct, but as you'll hear, there will be multiple charges surrounding the shooting, around the possession of firearms, and anything else that we can get on this guy. The investigation is obviously ongoing and just started. There's federal law enforcement already working on search warrants and doing their job, and I don't want to get ahead of them and don't want to get ahead of the work that they're doing even as we speak. Director Patel and I were just on the crime scene a short while ago, and everybody in this room should rest assured that the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, Secret Service, everybody's on the scene doing their job. I know that the police chief is going to give an update from the scene as soon as we're finished here, and I obviously will lead the details of what they have learned to him. But in the meantime, I just want to thank everybody in this room for the courage, and I want to thank President Trump for his words, and I promise you, justice will be served. Thank you, Dr. Patel.
There will be no justice until Trump is in jail.
The president's absolutely right. You saw the best resolve of American law enforcement because you, Mr. President, inspire them 24/7, 365. You give them the resources that they need, and they know that you have their back. And that is a changing dynamic in this country, and that's why you saw brave Secret Service agents respond immediately, swiftly, subdue and take down the suspect, and safeguard the lives of thousands of individuals.
Y'all, it was staged.
Thanks to our interagency partnership with the Department of Homeland Security and the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI was rapidly deployed onto the scene, took over the evidence response unit, is examining all the ballistics that were found on scene to include the long
The same
gun
way
and
you
the
did
shell
with
casings.
Charlie Kirk.
We are conducting witness interviews as we speak. You will hear from our team on the scene there with the mayor and the head of the FBI field division there. But please know what the Attorney General has just said reigns no truer. You saw the very best of America tonight. The very best unite us at a time of uncertainty, because we have leadership here with the President and Vice President that backs law enforcement, and the men and women that I shook their hands on the scene today could not have been prouder to show up on scene. And as the Attorney General said, make no mistake, we are conducting witness interviews. If you have any information whatsoever related to this event, 1-800-CALL-FBI. 1-800-CALL-FBI. No piece of information is too small. No piece of information is inadequate. We will evaluate it all. We will also be conducting interviews of those that were there. And if any of those individuals have information, please come forward to law enforcement or the FBI or the Metropolitan Police Department. We will be examining this individual's background thoroughly. That process has already started. And we are going to ensure that he was either a lone wolf actor or anyone else that was responsible. We will analyze all evidence immediately to make sure that we safeguard this country. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, thank you for your leadership. Attorney General and Homeland Secretary Mullen, thank you for your partnership in law enforcement.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do a couple and then we go to the chair. Madam Chairman, I just want to say you did a fantastic job. What a beautiful evening, and we're going to reschedule. After that, it's very tough for her to ask a killer question, right? But you have done a fantastic job. Please.
Mr. President, I appreciate it. As you mentioned, it all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
And I wonder, especially because unfortunately you have experience with these sorts of threats, in that moment when you realized there was a threat and service agents were telling us to get down, can you describe what was going through your mind, how you were feeling in that moment?
That's a very good question, actually. It's always shocking when something like this happens. It's happened to me a little bit.
Lord.
And that never changes.
You done got the most attempts
fact,
on you.
we were sitting right next to each other. First
Than
lady, am I
anybody.
right? And I heard a noise and sort of thought it was a tray. I thought it was a tray going down. You know, I've heard that many times, and it was a pretty loud noise.
Why are you
And it was from
lying?
quite far away. He hadn't reached the area at all. They really got him. But, so it was quite far away, but it was a gun. And some people really understood that pretty quickly, other people didn't. I was watching to see what was happening. Probably should have gone down even faster. Melania was very cognizant, I think, of what happened. I think she knew immediately what happened. She was saying, that's a bad noise. And we were whisked away along with other people, but we were really whisked away. And again, the performance of the Secret Service and the police, all of the law enforcement, I thought was really good. So it was very quick. There wasn't a lot of time to be thinking, because it was a matter of seconds before we were out the door and gone into an area. We very much, and you wanted to too, we very much wanted to continue it, because I don't like to let these sick people, these thugs, these horrible, horrible people, change the fabric of our life, change the course of what we do. So we held out. You were there. We held out right till the end, but they didn't want to take a chance, and I understand it was protocol. But we're going to be doing one hopefully within the next 30 days or sooner, and I am ready, willing, and able, and I was all set to really rip it. And I said to my people, this would be the most inappropriate speech ever made if I said one. So I'll have to save it. I don't know if I could ever be as rough as I was going to be tonight. I think I'm going to be probably very nice. I'll be very boring the next time, but we're going to have a great event. And you did a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. There's a report in the New York Post that this assailant assembled his weapon somewhere on site at the hotel. What do you think about that? And I ask respectfully, why do you think this keeps happening to you?
Well, you know, I've studied assassinations, and I must tell you, the most impactful people, the people that do the most. You take a look at the people, Abraham Lincoln. I mean, you go through the people that have gone through this, where they got them. But the people that do the most, the people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. They don't go after the ones that don't do much because they like it that way. And when you look at the people that have either, whether it was an attempt or a successful attempt, they're very impactful people. Just take a look at the names there, the big names. And I hate to say I'm honored by that, but I've done a lot. We've done a lot. We've taken this country, and we were a laughing stock for years, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We've changed this country, and there are a lot of people that are not happy about that. So I think that's the answer, Peter.
And after Butler, your team for a while rethought outdoor events.
Yeah.
Do you think that you now need to rethink
No.
indoor
Well,
events?
but then you just don't do events. No, I can't do that. I have to. It is what it is. We have to do it. The room was very, very secure. He charged from 50 yards away, so he was very far away from the room.
And what did you think when you saw the video of how fast he was running?
He was moving. He was really moving. And the reaction time was great. Boy, those guys, they had their guns drawn literally by the time he was there. They were shooting.
That's right.
I thought they were very impressive. And if I didn't, I'd let you know, I'm not going to be, I would not stand for that. No, I thought they were very impressive.
Thank you, President Trump, and thank you for updating us on the suspect earlier. Were you aware of any threats? Was your team aware of any threats beforehand? And do you believe you were the target of this tonight?
I guess. I mean, these people, they're crazy. They're crazy, and you never know. He was very far away from me. He had to go through a lot. We had resources all over. We had resources sitting at tables, literally in disguise, sitting maybe at your table, who knows? But we had people all over the room, so he had a long way to go. That was really a first line of defense, and they got him. And they really, they acted incredibly. No, there was no notification. We had no idea. Go ahead,
Do you
Kevin.
have any political motivations from this?
Well, you never know. Now, we'll be able to tell you that maybe by tomorrow or the next day. He's in custody, and they're asking him a lot of questions. I guess they're going over Todd, and they're already at his apartment. He lives in California.
Yes, sir.
And they're over there, so they'll be able to tell you. Thank you, Caitlin.
President Trump, did the suspect say anything, or was he wearing anything that would allege some type of motive here?
Nothing, no. I mean, he was a guy who looked pretty evil when he was down. They had him down. He was fighting hard. He was, in my opinion, a sick person. Who would do that but a sick person? But I think you're going to find everything about him. No reason to talk about it now. But tomorrow at this time, long before this time, you're going to know a lot of things about him. They seem to think he was a lone wolf, and I feel that too.
Are you concerned about U.S. Secret Service protection ability? We saw several of the detainees take minutes to be escorted out the room.
No, they acted very quickly. No, I was very impressed by Secret Service. I mean, I'm the one, and Mark Wayne, you would agree with that, I think.
Absolutely.
I'm the one that would complain. You don't have to complain for me. I would be complaining. I'd be up here right now saying they didn't do their job. Oh, believe me, because, it's my life, and I want to live because I want to make this country great. That's why I want to live. But when you're impactful, they go after you. When you're not impactful.
Oh, wow. So it's their fault that ain't nobody tried to kill him. I can't with him believing. Oh.
In Iran. I don't think so, but you never know. We're going to know a lot. We have the best people in the world working on it, and we're going to know a lot. Please.
Mr. President, there's a lot. You, as well as some of us who have covered Butler, experienced.
No, they're not happy with it. He done put the bees on him.
Yeah.
What felt similar? You had the First Lady with you today. What felt different? And you have another 2+ years in office. Are you concerned about something like this happening
Well, I
again?
can't be concerned. I can only.
Yeah, because this was staged for you.
In my opinion, a much better job than Butler. Butler had one weak spot that we all know about. Somebody should have been up there. But even Butler, we had our sniper on our side within.
Did he say our
4.2 seconds
sniper?
From a distance of about, Butler had one weak spot that we all know about. Somebody should have been up there, but even Butler,
That weak
we
spot,
had
y'all planted it that way.
our sniper on our side within 4.2 seconds from a distance of about 400 yards, one shot, and he was gone. And if he didn't do it, now, you know, he's David. His name was David. I say, hello, David, every time I see him. David, I like you very much, David. But think of that. Now, if he doesn't hit him, and he hit him right between the eyes from 400 yards without any notice, nobody knew. He heard a sound. He looked over, and there was actually a tree that was somewhat in his way. You know the story very well.
Y'all hear this clown?
He aimed, he fired, and if he didn't do that, beyond me, you would have had a lot more people killed. We lost one great person and two people very badly hurt. They're okay now. But no, that was, so in a sense, you know, that was pretty amazing, the job they did. But they did have that one weak spot, as you know. They should have had that covered. Tonight they had everything covered very quickly. And he was fast. He was running full blast, and they got him before they got any further. I was very far away. You know, he hadn't anywhere close to breach the doors of the ballroom. The ballroom was sealed, and everybody in there. That's why once those doors opened, they didn't want to do tonight. If the doors weren't opened, we could have probably done it tonight. But I think we're much better off rescheduling. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, for you and perhaps law enforcement as well, what is the level of confidence that this was a lone actor, and has the suspect made any statements to police while in custody?
Yeah, I think it.
So why are they saying he on the line?
Profession. We have great professionals up here and outside that have been working with us. My impression is he was a lone wolf, whack job. These are crazy people. These are crazy people, and they have to be dealt with. We had that in the second attempt, as you know, and he's spending life in prison. Because if you let him out, they'll probably, you know, if he serves 10 years or 15 years, you let him out, he'll probably try it again with somebody else. They're sick people. We have a lot of sick people. But you're going to know, I think very shortly, you're going to know, Todd, a lot about him. You're going to know a lot about him. Yeah, a couple of more. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Are you concerned about political violence? This could be politically motivated.
All violence. I'm concerned about everything. Look, but I can't be so concerned that you can't function. No, I'm here. It's a dangerous profession. You know, I tell the story. Race car drivers, I think it's very dangerous. So you take 1% and then take about 10% of 1%, just to break it down very easily, they die. So much less than 1%, 10% of 1%. I think bull riding is very dangerous.
Oh,
you take
Lord.
about the same, 10% of 1%, much less than 1%. But if you take presidents, it's 5.8%. And about 8% are shot at. So nobody told me this was such a dangerous profession. If Marco would have told me, maybe I wouldn't have run.
You ran
Maybe
the
I would
first
have said, I'll
time. You
take a
knew
pass.
then. Then you came
No, it's
back
a
again
dangerous
because you was
profession.
broke, man.
But
Stop
I
it.
don't view it that way. Look, I'm here to do a job. It's part of the job. It is a dangerous, I can't imagine that there's any profession that's more dangerous. But I love the country, and I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the job we've done. You see what's happened. We have a great country. We've got, I think, the most successful, the hottest country anywhere in the world. This happened over a period of just a year, and we're going to do great things. But with that come risks. There's no question about it. Yeah.
To that end, I mean, there's been so much political violence, not just aimed at yourself, but at other members of, members of Congress, state house speakers, you name it. Is that just the cost of doing business to do politics in America anymore?
Yeah, well,
what does that say about our
elsewhere
country?
too. We're not the only country. You look at this great violence with all countries. I was talking to somebody from another country today, and they have numerous assassinations of political figures all over the world. You look at South America, it's like some of the numbers are just horrific. It's dangerous. It's dangerous stuff, whether it's here or someplace else. No country is immune. No country. Good question.
At this point?
Well, probably if I decided to just not do much, if I let everybody rip us off and
You
take
don't do
advantage of
much.
us. Look, leading the world
Well,
in
line your
trade now. We're
pockets.
leading the world in the military. We're the greatest military in the world. I rebuilt it in my first term, and now we use it.
Now, why they don't
Because
have
we
no
choice. We
food?
can't let, as an example,
Why they
Iran,
can't flush the
we can't
toilet?
let them
Why
get
they
a
smell
nuclear
shit all
weapon.
day?
Everything will be peanuts compared to that if they ever were given a nuclear weapon, and they'd use it too. Marco and I were talking about it today. They would use it without even hesitation.
What
They
we
can't
need to
do
stop
that.
this man from
It was a
lying.
shame. I said, oh boy, look at the numbers. We just broke 50,000 in the Dow. We just broke 7,000 in the
Okay,
S&P.
here we go.
They said we couldn't do it in 7 years, in 5 years, 4 years. They were saying maybe in 5 or 6 years. And we did it in 1 year.
Okay.
And I called everybody together. I called all of these people.
Okay,
and
I
others
gotta
and
move
said,
on, y'all. I can't.
we have to take a little
I
journey.
can't handle
That's it
these
to do
lies.
this. We just
I
have the
gotta
great
move
number.
on.
We just broke 50,000. Wasn't supposed to happen during my term.
It didn't.
Wasn't reachable. Did it in 1 year. And I
They
said,
got to stay here and look
we have to
stupid
make
for
take
him
a
lying.
journey to Iran. They're gonna
So,
have a
as far as
nuclear
I'm
weapon, and that's it.
concerned,
We had the B-2 bombers
it was
taken out.
staged.
I terminated in the first
You
term
need
the
to know. Hey, room shaker.
Obama
I had to walk away,
agreement, the Iran
child.
nuclear agreement, which was a disaster.
Hey,
That was a
hey,
low-key
y'all. Hey,
nuclear weapon.
Ronald.
They would have used it. They would have used it 100%.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, you know, when you do things like that, you become
I
a
can't
target.
listen
If
to
I
the
wasn't
lies.
doing that,
I just
guess I'd
can't.
be a lot
I
less of a
just
target.
can't.
But I'm honored to be. Okay, one more question.
And you know, and you notice ain't nobody asked no straight questions, so he cool. He done said, thank you, press, thank you, thank you. Y'all done a great job of coverage. It's all staged. Ain't nobody asked no real question, and he haven't had an opportunity to be rude and disrespectful, right? Because this was all staged and planned.
Yeah, go ahead.
Y'all, hold on. He just told that one person no. He weighed them off. He picking and choosing who he want to talk to because he don't want nobody to ask no real tough
They would have used it 100%.
questions.
So, you know, when you
Watch
do
him
things
wave
like
him
that,
off.
you become a target. If I wasn't doing that, I guess I'd be a lot less of a target. But I'm honored to be. Okay, one more question.
Watch him wave him off.
Go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
not
go
you.
ahead.
Yeah, no. So whoever that was, he knew he wasn't gonna be able to handle it.
Brought into the hotel, and also, how does this event impact you as the leader of our country? Do you think it will change your
I
leadership?
like not to think about it. I leave.
Child, please. I can't stomach you in your lies. Let me see what Obama was saying. Epstein file explodes because there are some real reasons why this popped out. Melania called lying. I don't believe none of this. Netanyahu is in panic. 30 U.S. officers were unalive.
Vice
Let's get to
President
the
Trump
root.
is once again doubling down on his threats in the Strait of Hormuz, saying that he has directed the U.S. Navy to fire on
Let's
any
get to the root
small
of why
boat without
this happened today.
hesitation that they claim is trying to lay mines in the waters. It's yet another reminder of what reports say that Pakistani officials are now saying, which is that the current stalled talks between the U.S. and Iran are because of the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports, not because of really anything else. Iran is sticking to the fact that this has to be a precondition for talks, that the U.S. cannot engage in this blockade while Iran is over here making efforts to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Yes, it's under their rules. Yes, it is under their control. And they're making it clear that that is not changing. So what does this mean for this conflict? And how long is this so-called
we ain't talking to
ceasefire
nobody but
expected
President
to last?
Obama.
Could we see the U.S. launching new attacks on Iran in the coming days? Well, we got into all of the latest with a special guest earlier, so let's take a listen to that conversation now. Joining me now to discuss is retired U.S. Army Colonel Douglas Macgregor, a defense and foreign policy analyst and former Pentagon advisor. Colonel Macgregor, thanks so much for taking the time to join me.
Sure.
Great to have you back on the show. Now, I want to get your take on the latest here, as I know that President Trump just announced in a statement on Truth Social that he has ordered the U.S. Navy to, quote, shoot and kill any boat that is putting mines in the waters of the Strait of Hormuz without hesitation.
Because they
Now, this
struck,
comes
they
as
struck
we
our
continue to
oil.
see tensions escalate in the region, with Iran seizing multiple vessels attempting to cross the Strait of Hormuz this week, and U.S. forces
They
seizing a
struck Black
tanker
Gold this
carrying
weekend.
Iranian oil in the Indian Ocean. So, as we make our way up the escalation ladder, how do you see the current state of this conflict?
I think that's an important question.
Sorry, I let the juice fall out when I stepped away. I'm back, y'all. Hold on. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Here's how I eat low carb, high protein meals every day.
Let's get to some of the
Eating
reason.
carnivore or keto isn't cheap or fast. So I tried this with
I
Cook
can't even remember what it was on. Hold on.
Russia's foreign ministry published the readout from the Lavrov-Aragchi call, and I want you to read one line from it very
None of this
carefully.
worked well for him.
Iran reaffirmed its readiness to allow the unimpeded transit of Russian vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. Not all vessels, Russian vessels, while the Hormuz Strait remains, in Galibaf's exact words, not possible to reopen for America. While 31 Western ships have been turned back from the blockade, while the MSC Francesca and the Epaminondas sit in Iranian custody, Iran gave Russia safe passage and denied it to everyone trying to enforce American terms. Or Francesca and the Epaminondas sit in Iranian custody. Iran gave Russia safe passage and denied it to everyone trying to enforce American terms. Oil touched $100 a barrel on the news, and China said nothing. Every outlet covering this is calling it a diplomatic courtesy. Iran and Russia are allies. Of course, Russia gets safe passage. This is a routine bilateral arrangement that will disappear once a deal is signed. I want to argue it is not a courtesy. I want to argue it is a signal. And the fact that Russia got in one phone call what America has failed to extract in 55 days of war is exactly the signal China has been watching for. Because China has seen a country under maximum pressure begin sorting maritime access by political alignment before. The last time that happened, what came next was not a negotiation. It was a permanent real courtesy. Iran and Russia are allies. Of course, Russia gets safe passage. This is a routine bilateral. One Western ships have been turned back from the blockade, while the MSC Francesca and the Epaminondas sit in Iranian custody. Iran gave Russia safe passage and denied it to everyone trying to enforce American terms. Oil touched $100 a barrel on the news, and China said nothing. Every outlet covering this is calling it a diplomatic courtesy. Iran and Russia are allies. Of course, Russia gets safe passage. This is a routine bilateral arrangement that will disappear once a deal is signed. I want to argue it is not a courtesy. I want to argue it is a signal. And the fact that Russia got in one phone call what America has failed to extract in 55 days of war is exactly the signal China has been watching for. Because China has seen a country under maximum pressure begin sorting maritime access by political alignment before. The last time that happened, what came next was not a negotiation. It was a permanent realignment that changed who controlled the world's most important waterway for the next 70 years. That is the framework I want to take you through. I call it the selective access signal. And understanding what China reads in Russia's Hormuz Guarantee and why it reads it very differently from how Washington reads it tells you what the something big actually is. Start with what Iran actually said to Russia, because the specific words matter more than the headline. Aragchi told Lavrov on the call the passage of vessels belonging to other countries through the Strait of Hormuz is carried out in coordination with the competent Iranian authorities. That sentence is doing three things simultaneously. First, it is asserting that Iran, not America, not international maritime law, not CENTCOM,
is the competent authority over Hormuz Passage. Iran is not just allowing Russian ships. Iran is declaring that its permission is the operating requirement for any ship. Second, it is telling Russia that the arrangement is bilateral. Passage coordinated with Iranian authorities, not with a multilateral framework, not with a regional body, not with anything that America can claim authority over, directly from Iran to Russia. Third, it is a reciprocal commitment. Russia got Hormuz access. Iran got Russia's continued facilitation role with Gulf Arab states. Lavrov confirmed Russia is ready to help negotiate between Iran and its Gulf neighbors. Two governments exchanging
It has
specific
already
operational commitments. That is not a diplomatic courtesy call. That is the beginning of a durable arrangement. And here is the part that makes this specific guarantee significant beyond the immediate military picture. Russia and Iran are simultaneously building what CSIS confirmed is a north-south trade route designed to bypass Western sanctions entirely, connecting Russia's industrial base through Iran to the Indian Ocean and beyond. That corridor requires Iran's control of the Persian Gulf's northern maritime access. The Hormuz guarantee Russia just secured is not just about ships passing through a strait. It is the legal and operational foundation of a trade system that is being built around the dollar, around SWIFT, around every enforcement mechanism America has spent decades constructing. Russia is not getting safe passage through Hormuz. Russia is getting the anchor point of a parallel world order. Now, what China has seen before, because this is the framework that makes the something big visible. China studies maritime history more carefully than any other major power. China's entire strategic posture for the past 2 decades has been shaped by what it calls the Malacca dilemma, the vulnerability of depending on a single maritime choke point controlled by a power potentially hostile to China's interests. China has watched how states use maritime access as a sorting mechanism and what that sorting produces in the long arc of history. The historical parallel is not Japan 1941 this time. The parallel is 1956 Suez. When Egypt's President Nasser nationalized the Suez Canal and began sorting ships, some passed with Egyptian tolls and Egyptian coordination requirements, some were denied passage. Britain and France saw it as temporary leverage, a bargaining chip before Egypt returned to normal international maritime practice. China sees it as the moment when Egypt permanently asserted sovereign authority over a choke point it had only nominally controlled before. The Suez Crisis did not end with Egypt giving the canal back. It ended with the world accepting that Egypt controlled Suez on Egyptian terms. The canal has operated that way ever since. Iran is doing the Nasser move, not temporarily, structurally. By sorting ships by nationality, Russia and China get through, Western ships get seized. Iran is establishing in practice what Whch said in words. Passage through Hormuz is coordinated with Iranian authorities. Every day that sorting system operates, the precedent becomes more established. Every Russian tanker that transits, every Chinese crude carrier that reaches Fujian without incident, every Western commercial ship that gets seized or turned back adds another data point to the operational reality that Iran manages this strait. There is a second historical parallel China is running simultaneously. In 1941, the United States imposed a total oil embargo on Japan. Japan was dependent on American oil for roughly 80% of its military fuel. The American calculation was identical to today's. Cut off the resource, Japan cannot sustain operations, Japan negotiates. For several months, Tokyo appeared to be negotiating. During that entire period, Japan was quietly sorting its own maritime relationships. Japanese vessels moved through waters Japan controlled. American vessels were increasingly denied access. The sorting was not dramatic. It was gradual. A coordination requirement here, an inspection protocol there. By the time the sorting system was fully operational, Japan had already decided what came next was not going to involve American cooperation at any level. China has studied both parallels, Suez and Japan, and applied them to what it is watching in Hormuz right now. The difference from Japan is that Iran is not preparing a military strike. The similarity to Suez is that Iran is permanently asserting operational authority over a choke point that Western powers have historically treated as international waters. The something big China sees is not a battle. It is a precedent. And precedents, once established in practice, do not require formal declarations. They require exactly what Iran is doing. One ship sorted at a time, one bilateral guarantee at a time, one coordination requirement at a time. China has seen this before because China has watched Egypt hold Suez for 70 years on Egyptian terms after 1956. And China built its entire strategic reserve, its dark fleet, its yuan payment architecture, its Earth-Eye satellite targeting network, specifically so that when Iran made the Nasser move, permanently asserting sovereign authority over Hormuz by sorting access, China would be on the right side of the sort, not by accident, by design. The 1.2 billion barrel strategic reserve, the dark fleet, the teapot refineries, none of that was built after this war started. It was built in anticipation of exactly this moment. The moment Iran's sorting system went operational.
Hi, there is Dr. Chad Walding, co-founder of Native Path. We
I need for y'all to get the lights up.
Other supplement companies. It's so much more.
China is on the
Trying to
safe
explain to y'all
passage
why
list.
this is
China
staged.
built itself onto that list over a decade, and China now has 157.7 million barrels of Iranian crude heading to its refineries through a strait where Russian ships are guaranteed safe passage and Western ships are being seized. Here is what this means for America, because I want to be precise about the gap between how Washington is reading the Russia-Hormuz guarantee and what it actually represents. Washington is reading the guarantee as a negotiating complication. Russia getting Hormuz access is inconvenient, but peripheral to the main negotiation between America and Iran. The deal is between America
It's not
and
enough
Iran.
distractions
Russia
in the
is a
world.
bystander with a courtesy
We see
arrangement.
him now, and they
America's
laughing at him.
position is that once a deal is signed, Hormuz reopens for everyone under a framework America considers acceptable, and Russia's bilateral arrangement becomes moot. That reading misses three things. First, Iran has not given America a Hormuz guarantee. In every direct communication, every mediated framework, every round of talks, America has been unable to extract a formal commitment that Hormuz will be open on terms America considers free navigation. Iran gave that commitment to Russia in a bilateral phone call. Russia did not need to bomb anything. Russia did not need a carrier group. Russia did not need a blockade. Russia needed one phone call. The asymmetry between what Russia achieved in one call and what America has failed to achieve in 55 days of war is the most important diplomatic signal in this conflict. And it is a signal that every country watching this war, every country deciding whether American power still means what it used to mean, is reading carefully. Think about what that asymmetry tells non-aligned countries. Saudi Arabia, which hosts American bases and has been pressing Washington to abandon the blockade. India, which is watching this war from a position of deep energy dependence on the Gulf. The Gulf states that have been quietly maintaining relationships with Iran despite formal alignment with America. All of them are watching Russia get in one phone call what America could not get in 55 days of bombing. That is not just a diplomatic data point. That is a lesson about which relationships produce results and which produce rubble. Second, the Russia-Hormuz guarantee creates a structural constraint on any deal America might eventually sign. If Iran's deal with America attempts to establish free and unconditional navigation through Hormuz, it conflicts with what Iran has already promised Russia. That passage is coordinated through Iranian authorities. Iran cannot simultaneously tell America that Hormuz is under a free navigation framework and tell Russia that passage requires Iranian coordination. One of those commitments is real. Iran's actions tell you which one. Russia's ships are already transiting on Iranian coordinated terms. America's ships cannot get Iranian goods out of Iran. The deal that America is waiting for Iran to propose cannot be more open than what Iran has already given Russia without Iran contradicting an existing bilateral commitment. Third, the north-south trade route. Russia and Iran are
What happened?
are not just establishing a Hormuz guarantee. They are establishing the operational foundation of a trade system that bypasses every sanction America has ever imposed. CSIS documented this. The route connects Russia through Iran to the Indian Ocean and onward to markets in South Asia, Central Asia, and eventually to China's belt and road infrastructure. Every Russian tanker that uses the Hormuz guarantee is a test run of the route. Every successful transit is another data point that the corridor works. By the time any deal between America and Iran is signed, the north-south route may be sufficiently established that Iran's economic dependence on Hormuz reopening for Western commerce has already been structurally reduced. Iran's leverage over Hormuz increases precisely as its dependence on Hormuz revenue from the West decreases. That is the structure China has been building Iran into for a decade. And the Russia-Hormuz guarantee is the moment that structure became operationally visible. Let me steelman the argument that the Russia-Hormuz guarantee is routine and means less than I am arguing. The strongest version of this argument is that Iran has been granting selective access throughout this conflict. Russia, China, India, Iraq, Pakistan, all of them were on Iran's permitted list since March 26th. The guarantee Araghchi gave Lavrov in the call is simply a reaffirmation of an existing arrangement, not a new strategic commitment. And selective access during a conflict does not necessarily mean permanent selective sovereignty. Nasser did eventually allow Israeli passage through Suez under specific conditions after the Camp David Accords. Japan did not inevitably lead to Pearl Harbor simply because of oil embargo dynamics. The 1941 parallel overstates determinism. Countries under pressure make temporary arrangements with friends that they revise when circumstances change. The Steelman also argues that Russia's interest in this arrangement is precisely to end the conflict, not extend it. Lavrov, in that same call, emphasized the necessity of maintaining the ceasefire and said Russia would help facilitate agreements between Iran and Gulf Arab states. Russia wants a deal. A deal ends the conflict. A deal reopens Hormuz fully. And a deal removes the unique value of the bilateral arrangement Russia has with Iran. Because if Hormuz is open to everyone, Russia's safe passage guarantee is no longer a strategic asset. Russia is not investing in permanent Iranian sovereignty over Hormuz. Russia is investing in the facilitator role that gives it influence over whatever deal eventually emerges. And a Russia that facilitates the deal has leverage over both sides of the deal. Iran's relationship with Russia, and America's need for Russian cooperation to constrain Iranian behavior post-deal. The Steelman goes further. The North-South trade route CSIS documented is aspirational. It has been in various stages of planning and partial construction for decades. The corridor predates this war, and its commercial viability remains dependent on infrastructure investments and political stability that the current conflict has actually disrupted rather than advanced. Iran's economy is in genuine pain. Its central bank warned Pezeshkian that recovery takes 12 years. The rial is down. Port revenues are crushed. A country facing that level of economic damage wants Hormuz reopened for everyone, not just for Russia and China, because Western commercial traffic through Hormuz generates Iranian toll revenue that Russian passage guarantees do not.
They should have
All of
started
that
the
is
war.
serious.
We wouldn't have
The
to
diplomatic
have these
faction
problems.
in
If I would
Iran
say
is real.
when the bear
Russia's interest
and
in a
eagle
deal
collide.
is real. The North-South corridor's commercial viability is genuinely uncertain, and Nasser's Suez precedent also involved significant modification over time. But here is what the Steelman cannot account for. Arakchi's specific language was not, "We will consider Russian vessels in our coordination framework." It was, "The passage of vessels belonging to other countries through the Strait of Hormuz is carried out in coordination with the competent Iranian authorities." That sentence names no exceptions. It does not say during the current conflict. It does not say pending a deal. It asserts a permanent.
What if you could make a song using only your
permanent-
voice?
hold on.
Let's start with the drums.
Lights up, please.
I'm gonna hit drums.
Institutional reality, Iranian Coordination Authority over all passage. And it was said to Russia's foreign minister, whose government published it,
Hey,
making it a
Chanel.
matter of diplomatic record rather than a private assurance. Private assurances can be walked back.
Okay, good
Diplomatic
night.
record cannot be walked back without consequences
tight.
for the bilateral relationship. Iran has placed on the record with Russia that it is the competent authority for Hormuz passage. That commitment does not disappear when a deal is signed. It constrains what that deal can say. Watch three things as this unfolds. As the first is whether Russian tankers actively transit Hormuz in the coming days on the guaranteed route, not through the dark fleet transfer system, but openly with Iranian coordination. On the published route, Iran has declared for permitted vessels. An open Russian tanker transit would be the operational proof of the guarantee. It would establish in maritime practice what Arakchi stated in diplomatic language. Watch the marine traffic data specifically for Russian-flagged or Russian-linked
permanent
tankers
tolls to get
transiting
through.
the Hormuz coordinated
Who
route.
fault is that?
The first one that does
Trump's.
is the Suez moment.
And Bibi
the moment the
Netanyahu.
sorting system goes from policy to precedent. And watch whether any Western naval vessel challenges that transit. Because if a Russian tanker transits on Iranian coordinated terms and America's Navy does not stop it, America has operationally accepted Iranian coordination authority over Hormuz in the same moment it is publicly demanding Hormuz be free and open. That contradiction, if it happens, is the most important signal in this entire conflict. The second is whether America names the Russia-Hormuz guarantee in any formal statement. Trump named China on CNBC as the source of ballistic missile chemicals heading to Iran. He has not named Russia's Hormuz guarantee in any public statement. If America does not name it, if no State Department briefing, no CENTCOM statement, no Truth Social post addresses the fact that Russia secured safe passage through a strait America is simultaneously blockading, that silence is America deciding the Russia-Hormuz arrangement is something it cannot confront without complicating the bilateral negotiation it is still trying to conduct with Iran. The silence is not ignorance, it is calculation. America cannot simultaneously press Iran on Hormuz and press Russia on its Hormuz guarantee without creating a two-front confrontation it cannot manage. So America will probably say nothing about the Russia guarantee. And China is reading that silence precisely because it tells China exactly how far America is willing to go before it accepts the sorting system as a fait accompli. The third is whether the north-south trade route sees any public development in the next 30 days.
I do not like to see Donald
Russia
Trump
and Iran building the corridor is confirmed by
his life
CBS.
or
What
our
is not yet
lives.
public is when
Barry.
that corridor becomes commercially operational rather than
How is he
strategically
risking
conceptual.
his life?
Watch for any announcement
risking
from
our
Russia,
lives.
Iran, or any Central Asian country about logistics
kinda
agreements,
confused,
rail
don't
connections,
you?
or port upgrades along the north-south route. Each announcement is a rung on the ladder toward permanent alternative infrastructure. And permanent alternative infrastructure is what makes the something big fully visible. Not as a crisis event, but as a structural shift that no deal between America and Iran, no matter how comprehensive,
Our
can
military
fully revert.
guys and females don't even have food. They have a great processed brick. What are you talking about? 4 or 5 cooked carrot sticks, a dried up piece of rice cake thing, and a block of gray processed meat. No good water, and the I was finna call the ship ranks. Coming all out of the restroom. No, he's risking our lives, military, all for Israel. A made up state. It's not even a country. It's not even real. Stolen land. Full of genocide. That he's stealing our money to pay for at you. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go for today. Come back with a mindset because I don't know what you own today. Bye-bye. Y'all say bye to a little Barry. The little berry. The little berry. I don't know what type of berry you are, but you got it wrong today. Come back better. 13 out of the 17 of the bases have been hit. And they are the ones that he has either profited from or had a child great in trafficking.
Because once the north-south corridor is established, Iran does not need Hormuz revenue from the West to sustain its economy. And a country that does not need your revenue has no reason to give you what you want. It's straight. Push back on this if you see it differently. Read the Russian MFA readout from the Lavrov-Aragchi call. Specifically, the phrase reaffirmed its readiness to allow the unimpeded transit of Russian vessels. Read Aragchi's exact statement that passage through Hormuz is coordinated with Iranian authorities. Read the CSIS report on Russia and Iran's north-south trade route, specifically the language about reshaping the US-dominated global trade system in the coming decades. That is CSIS language, not Iranian propaganda. Read the CFR analysis on authoritarian collaboration, specifically the data point that autocracies now account for nearly 50% of global GDP, double their share from the 1990s. Read the marine traffic data showing which ships are transiting Hormuz and which are being seized, and then ask the question China is not asking, because China already has the answer.
Need to reset
if Iran
with
is sorting
Obama. I
ships
agree,
by
Joe.
political alignment in the world's most important maritime corridor, and Russia is on the safe passage list, and China is on the safe passage list, and Western commercial ships are getting seized or turned back, What is Iran sorting toward? The something big China has seen before is not a military event. It is a permanent structural realignment of who controls access to the world's most important waterway. And that realignment, once established in practice, does not require a formal announcement. It requires exactly what Iran is doing right now, one ship sorted at a time.
I want to start tonight with a photograph.
Yeah, I don't know these people. Let me get to the ones that I know. Y'all, I need for y'all to hit the like button. I need for y'all to like, share, and subscribe. Now, you know what was funny? When my system, when I ran out of juice, why did it show me that I had a new membership in this live? How is that possible? Huh? How was I able to get a membership, a new membership? I mean, I appreciate it, but what are they? Yeah, I need for y'all to hit the like button. I'm gonna show y'all when I get over there. I'm waiting on you to get the likes. See, they don't even know what they doing. How did I get a new membership? They're showing the guy. Yeah, one new membership. How do I have one new membership? Thank you for the membership. How you were able to get it done, I don't know, but thank you. Also, thank y'all for reaching 40 million views. I greatly appreciate it. Maybe somebody renewed their membership. I don't know how it's possible, but I'm not going to, let me get back to where I was. Let me get to my guy. Yeah. They're just doing weird stuff because they don't want the truth to come out. Okay, so y'all listen. Thank you. So y'all know I was in a bad mood yesterday. Y'all know I was in a real bad mood yesterday. You know, we had my cousin's memorial today. And I was so like 4:30 this morning. My cousin sent me this. I want y'all to hear this that my cousin, because it was really bad, y'all. I don't think that y'all quite understand how bad it was. I was really, yeah. But she sent me this at 4:25 this morning, and it really helped me. I really received it. So I want, if anybody's going through something, do I need to play this at the end? Should I wait to play this at the end? I should probably, no. I want y'all to listen to this, just in case you need it right now.
25th, can I pray for you? Dear God, I'm praying over this person Saturday. God, I pray that they wake up today with peace in their heart, with joy in their spirit. Give them a clear mind, give them a free mind. God, I pray that whatever worries, whatever stress they've been carrying all week, help them to release it right now. God, you know everything on their heart. You saw every moment this week where they felt overwhelmed. You saw every time they felt like giving up. You saw every time they were mistreated and when people were unkind to them. But God, your word says in 1 Peter 5:7, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. So right now, God, we place every burden into your hands. God, remind them that the battle is not theirs, but it's yours. And you are strong and mighty in battle. And the good news is that you have already won. You are already working things out for their good. Your word says in Romans 8:28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love
the
him.
Lord.
So God, let them know that you will never leave them empty. You are a God who replaces what is lost. If you ask us to put something down, it's only because you want us to pick up something greater. So God, restore them today. Restore their energy, restore their strength, restore their joy, restore their hope. God, your word says in Psalm 23, verse 3, he restores my soul. Where they feel drained, refill them. Where they feel discouraged, lift them up. Where they feel tired, give them strength. As Isaiah 40:31 says, those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. Your word says in Philippians 4:7, the peace of which surpasses all understanding will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. God, protect them as they move throughout this day, whether they're traveling, at home, working, or simply resting. God, keep them safe from all dangers, seen and unseen. Your word says in Psalm 121:7-8, the Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. Surround them with your protection today, Father. Cover their mind from negative thoughts. Cover their heart from anything trying to weigh them down. Replace anxiety with peace. Replace fear with faith, heaviness with lightness, and remind them, God, that you are near. And I give praise, glory, and honor to you for all that you have done, all that you are doing, and all that you continue to do. I pray all these things in the mighty, wonderful name of Jesus. Amen. Have a blessed Saturday.
Amen.
Today is Saturday, April 25th. Can I pray for you?
She sent that to me at 4:25 this morning. And Lord, I thank you. I needed that just when she sent it. And today was a good day. Today was a good day. So I hope that prayer do for you what it did for me early this morning. Amen. Let's get to the president.
The columnists, the broadcasters. Now, I want you to think about something with me for a moment. Every year in Washington, D.C., there is one night, just one night, when the President of the United States sits down at the same table with the very people whose job it is to hold him accountable. The reporters.
Let's hear if this was staged tonight.
The broadcasters.
Staged tonight.
It is called the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And for over a century, it has stood as a living, breathing.
Can y'all hear me? Oh no, I don't want that. Hold on. Oh no, I'm sorry. I pushed the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me? I need for y'all to give me a 1. Let me know y'all can hear me.
Now, I want you to think about something with me for a moment. Every year in Washington, D.C., there is one night, just one night, when the President of the United States sits down at the same table with the very people whose job it is to hold him accountable. The reporters, the columnists, the broadcasters. It is called the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And for over a century,
Hey, Captain
it has
Courage.
stood as
Thank
a
you.
living, breathing symbol of the First Amendment. The message is simple. In America, power answers to the press, and the press answers to the people. I attended those dinners for 8 years as your president. I sat up on that dais, took my lumps from the comedians, laughed at myself, and shook hands with journalists who had spent the week writing things about me that I did not enjoy reading. And I did it gladly, because that is what democracy looks like when it is working. On the evening of April 25th, 2026, that tradition was shattered by the sound of gunfire inside the Washington Hilton Hotel. President Trump, the First Lady, Vice President Vance, and hundreds of America's top journalists were gathered in that ballroom when shots rang out. The president was rushed off the stage. Guests dove under tables. Broken glass and spilled wine covered white tablecloths. Armed agents flooded every entrance. Now here's the part that sent a chill down my spine. The Washington Hilton is the same hotel where President Ronald Reagan was shot in 1981. The same building, the same sidewalk. History does not repeat itself, folks, but sometimes it rhymes in ways that ought to terrify us. What happened that night goes far beyond the headlines, and the security failures, the political response, and what comes next, well, we will come back to all of that in a moment. Let me tell you something most people do not realize about the White House Correspondents' Dinner. It is not a party. It is not a celebrity roast. At its core, it is a fundraiser for journalism scholarships and a declaration of principle. The principle that in the United States of America, the free press and the executive branch must coexist, even when they cannot stand each other. That relationship has always been tense. Every president I have ever known, myself included, has had moments of deep frustration with the media. But we showed up. We sat at that table, because doing so meant something larger than any one news cycle. Now, President Trump skipped every single White House Correspondents' Dinner during his first term. He skipped the first year of his second term, too. For years, he called the press the enemy of the people. His administration sued the Associated Press and the Wall Street Journal. Pentagon press access was restricted. Individual reporters were berated publicly. Nearly 500 retired journalists signed a petition on the eve of this dinner, calling the White House Correspondents Association to take a stand against the erosion of press freedom. And then on April 25th, 2026, Donald Trump decided to show up. For the first time as president, he walked into that ballroom.
First time.
It was supposed to be a historic moment of reconciliation, or at least of coexistence. The irony is almost unbearable. The one night he chose to sit at that table with the press, the one night he chose to embrace the tradition he had rejected for years, that is the night everything went wrong.
On purpose.
And this is where things start to get complicated. Because what happened inside that hotel tells us something not just about security, but about the state of this country. Now let me walk you through what we know, step by step, because the facts matter more than the speculation, and there is already plenty of speculation going around. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump were seated at the dais. Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and several other cabinet members were in attendance. Think about that for a moment. Nearly the entire presidential line of succession in one room. The guests were eating the first course, a spring pea and burrata salad, when between 3 and 8 loud bangs were heard. Reports vary on the exact number. Secret Service agents immediately shouted, "Move, move, and stay down." Hundreds of people in gowns and tuxedos dove under their tables. Wine spattered across white tablecloths. Plates shattered on the floor. Someone in the room shouted, "USA!" Armed agents burst through the ballroom doors and swarmed the stage. Trump was rushed off. Reports indicate he stumbled and was helped up by agents and evacuated from the building along with the First Lady and other senior officials. The Secret Service confirmed that shots were fired near the main magnetometer screening area, the very checkpoint designed to prevent this kind of attack. One person was taken into custody. An officer was reportedly struck in a bullet-resistant vest, but is expected to be okay. No other injuries were immediately reported. The National Guard was deployed inside and outside the building. Helicopters circled the area. Here is what we do not yet know: the shooter's full identity, their motive, and exactly how they got that close to a room full of the most powerful people in America.
Inside job.
And folks, that gap in our knowledge, that is where people need to resist jumping to conclusions. We have got to remember something about moments like this. When a crisis hits, the first 30 minutes tell you almost everything you need to know about the leadership in charge. Not the speeches they give later, not the press conferences the next day, the first 30 minutes. Now let me give credit where credit is due. The Secret Service acted with extraordinary speed. Those agents put their bodies between the president and danger, and they got him out of that room in minutes. That is exactly what they are trained to do, and they did it well. I will agree with President Trump on that point without hesitation. But then came the response that concerns me. About 30 minutes after the shooting, President Trump posted on Truth Social. He called it quite an evening in D.C.
Quite an evening.
He praised the Secret Service and announced the shooter had been apprehended. And then he recommended, and I will quote this, "Let the show go on." He suggested everyone return to the Hilton to resume the dinner while the scene was still being secured. Now look, I understand the instinct. You want to project strength. You want to show the country you are not afraid. I respect that impulse.
The way you ran.
But responsible crisis communication means something different. It means reassure the public, defer to law enforcement, resist the urge to make it about yourself. When the Oklahoma City bombing happened in 1995, I did not rush to tell jokes. I went to that city, I held those families, and I let the investigators do their work before I said a single word about what it meant. Leadership in a crisis is not about the performance. It is about the people who are scared and the professionals who need space to do their jobs. Here is the honest truth, and it is one that should worry every American, regardless of party. The Washington Hilton has hosted this dinner for decades, and its security model has a known vulnerability that has never been adequately addressed. The hotel remains open to regular guests during the dinner. Security screening is focused narrowly on the ballroom entrance. The lobby, the hallways, the public areas, they have always been the soft spot. This was not a secret. Anyone who has attended that dinner more than once understood it. And yet, on a night when the President of the United States, the Vice President, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, and dozens of other senior officials were all gathered in one room, the entire presidential line of succession, effectively, the perimeter architecture had not been reconsidered. The shots were fired near the magnetometer screening area. That is the front door of the security system, and someone got close enough to fire a weapon there. That is not just a close call. That is a systemic failure that demands answers. Now I want to put this in a larger context. Think about the trajectory of political violence in this country in recent years. President Trump was shot at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania in July of 2024. National Guard members have been shot near the White House. Public officials at every level now require security details that would have been unthinkable a generation ago. Each one of these incidents, regardless of whether anyone is killed, chips away at the public's confidence that our government can protect even itself. And when that confidence erodes, something fundamental breaks in the relationship between citizens and their institutions. The normalization of political violence is the single greatest threat to democratic governance we face. Now, I am going to enter some delicate territory here, and I want to be very careful about it. Because in today's hyper-partisan environment, every security incident is politicized within minutes. Before the broken glass is swept up, before the investigators have even started their work, the spin machines are already running at full speed on both sides. Let me say this plainly. You never make politics out of someone being shot at.
Right.
You just...
He don't know no better.
Anyone who has attended that dinner more than once understood it. And yet, on a night when the President of the United States, the Vice President, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, and dozens of other senior officials were all gathered in one room, the entire presidential line of succession, effectively, the perimeter architecture had not been reconsidered. The shots were fired near the magnetometer screening area. That is the front door of the security system, and someone got close enough to fire a weapon there. That is not just a close call. That is a systemic failure that demands answers.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to put this in a larger context. Think about the trajectory of political violence in this country in recent years. President Trump was shot at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania in July of 2024. National Guard members have been shot near the White House. Public officials at every level now require security details that would have been unthinkable a generation ago. Each one of these incidents, regardless of whether anyone is killed, chips away at the public's confidence that our government can protect even itself. And when that confidence erodes, something fundamental breaks in the relationship between citizens and their institutions. The normalization of political violence is the single greatest threat to democratic governance we face. Now, I am going to enter some delicate territory here, and I want to be very careful about it. Because in today's hyper-partisan environment, every security incident is politicized within minutes. Before the broken glass is swept up, before the investigators have even started their work, the spin machines are already running at full speed on both sides. Let me say this plainly. You never make politics out of someone being shot at. You just do not do it. Not if you are a Democrat. Not if you are a Republican. Not if you are anybody. But I would not be honest with you if I did not acknowledge what is coming. President Trump and his allies will use this event, understandably, to reinforce narratives about the dangers facing conservative leaders and about the president's personal courage. Democrats, meanwhile, may raise questions about how an administration that has dramatically expanded executive security rhetoric could allow such a vulnerability at a major event. Both responses are predictable. Both are, to some degree, legitimate. But both are also dangerous if taken too far. Here is what I learned from the years after September 11th, 2001. Crisis moments can be leveraged to reshape the balance of power if the public is not vigilant. In the name of security, rights can be curtailed, access can be restricted, and the very openness that defines democracy can be quietly closed off. The Correspondents' Dinner exists precisely as a symbol of openness, the press and the presidency in one room. If any political response uses this shooting to justify closing that openness further, restricting press access, or expanding executive security powers at the expense of civil liberties, then the shooter wins, not democracy. Let me tell you where I think this goes, and I want to lay out several possibilities, because the truth is, the next 72 hours will shape the meaning of this event far more than the event itself. First, the investigation. The shooter's identity and motive will determine everything. If this is a lone individual with a personal grievance, the policy response will look very different than if there is a connection to a broader network or ideology. We need to let law enforcement complete that work before we write the narrative. Second, security. Expect immediate calls to restructure how events with this concentration of national leadership are managed. That could mean moving the dinner to a more secure venue, limiting attendance, or mandating that senior officials in the line of succession be separated rather than gathered in a single room. These are reasonable conversations. They are overdue, frankly.
Do y'all believe that he thinks that it was staged?
Third.
What do y'all think? Do y'all think that he believed it or was it staged? I just, how did he get in there? Who let him in? Who he working for? No. It was staged. He knows the truth. Absolutely. Because the push is, one, some other things were unfolding. Some other failures were in place that he don't want to be discussed. And then two, he's trying to push this. Is he scared? Do he know he got a bag on his head? Absolutely. But he ain't the first one. Why is it such a yeah? Because you done busted into a building and it's not your house. Yeah, you it's almost like you want to squat. You gonna plan on squatting and say you made some improvements to the house that your rich millionaire friends did. They pulled out. If they wouldn't help you pay for your bond, what makes you think they're willing to pay for you to get this work done to hide minors probably allegedly going in and out. You don't want the doctor to see you. You're scared. You know something's about to pop off, or that's y'all plan. That's why y'all don't want them to have no nuclear war. But you're not worried about China. You need to be worried about China. Because China said, if you dare, I'm going to wipe all y'all out. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think you were. Oh, but you want they resources. You want their natural minerals and stuff. Let's go.
More than the event itself.
Well, BB saying now he
First,
got the big
investigation.
C, so he finna
The
leave you
shooter's
anyway because
identity
he
and
already
motive
gone.
will determine everything. If this is a lone individual with a personal grievance, the policy response will look very different than if there is a connection to a broader network or ideology. We need to let law enforcement complete that work before we write the narrative. Second, security. Expect immediate calls to restructure how events with this concentration of national leadership are managed. That could mean moving the dinner to a more secure venue, limiting attendance, or mandating that senior officials in the line of succession be separated rather than gathered in a single room. These are reasonable conversations. They are overdue, frankly. Third, and this one is unpredictable, the relationship between the press and this White House. Shared trauma has a way of drawing people together. I have seen it happen. It is possible that this incident creates a moment of solidarity between journalists and an administration that has treated them as adversaries. But it is equally possible that blame gets assigned, walls go up, and the relationship gets worse. I genuinely do not know which way this goes. Fourth, the trajectory of political violence in America. We are on an escalation curve that should alarm every citizen. This incident, even without fatalities, represents another step along that curve. I have long called for a bipartisan commission on political violence, one with real authority and real resources. It has been proposed. It has never been acted upon. If not now, when? How this country responds right now will say more about its health than the shooting itself. I want to leave you with one image. After the evacuation, after the president was rushed out, after the Secret Service had cleared the room and the National Guard had taken positions inside the building, the servers at the Washington Hilton came back. They refolded the napkins, they refilled the water glasses, they set up President Trump's teleprompter for remarks he never gave. The table was still set. I have been thinking about that all night.
Hold on, like what?
The history of political violence in America. We are on an escalation curve that should alarm every citizen. This incident, even without fatalities, represents another step along that curve. I have long called for a bipartisan commission on political violence, one with real authority and real resources. It has been proposed. It has never been acted upon. If not now, when? How this country responds right now will say more about its health than the shooting itself. I want to leave you with one image. After the evacuation, after the president was rushed out, after the Secret Service had cleared the room and the National Guard had taken positions inside the building, the servers at the Washington Hilton came back. They refolded the napkins, they refilled the water glasses, they set up President Trump's teleprompter for remarks he never gave. The table was still set.
I missed that again.
I have been thinking itself. I want to leave you with one image.
Okay.
After the evacuation, after the president was rushed out, after the Secret Service had cleared the room and the National Guard had taken positions inside the building, the servers at the Washington Hilton came back. They refolded the napkins, they refilled the water glasses, they set up President Trump's teleprompter for remarks he never gave. The table was still set. I have been thinking about that all night because that image, the empty table, prepared and waiting for people to come back and sit down, that is American democracy itself. It is shaken right now. There is broken glass on the floor. There are stains on the tablecloth. People are scared, and they have every right to be. But the table is still standing. I sat at that table for 8 years. I traded jokes with reporters who had spent the week tearing my administration apart and who would go right back to tearing it apart Monday morning. And that was the whole point. Democracy is not supposed to be comfortable. The free press is not supposed to be friendly to power. But the fact that they can sit at the same table, that they choose to sit at the same table, that is America. The answer to a bullet is never less democracy. It is more. The answer to violence is not silence. It is showing up. And the answer to fear is exactly what that dinner was supposed to be. A room full of people who disagree about almost everything, choose to break bread together anyway. That table is still set, folks. The napkins are folded, the water glasses are full. The question, the only question that matters now, is whether we still have the courage to sit down.
Hold on, let me see if he have another one. Before I go, I gotta go, y'all. I got
This is what walking does to your
early
joint.
morning family function. Let me see something. Now, what was this one we missed?
Happening in Pakistan isn't just another. I've been watching the news coming out of Islamabad this week, and I want to talk about something most Americans aren't paying nearly enough attention to. What's happening in Pakistan isn't just another round of diplomatic meetings. It's a signal that the international order America spent 70 years building is cracking under the weight of decisions made without a plan. I sat in the Oval Office for 8 years. I know what it means when world leaders stop calling Washington and start calling each other. That's the world rearranging itself around you because they've decided you're not the one who can solve the problem. You're the one who caused it.
Right.
Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi is in Islamabad, meeting with Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir.
This is why.
And Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif.
This is why. He know he in trouble,
and
y'all.
Kushner are on their way too. But Iran has publicly said there will be no direct talks with the Americans. The United States sent negotiators to a foreign capital. And the other side said, we'll talk to the Pakistanis, not to you. And hold this in your mind. Iran's near total internet blackout, 57 days now. The longest national shutdown since the Arab Spring. It tells you more about what's happening inside that country than anything officials are saying publicly. The stakes here: American credibility, global energy markets, millions of lives are all on the line. So let me walk you through it. Every crisis has a genealogy. On February 28th, the United States and Israel launched surprise airstrikes against Iran, killing Supreme Leader Khamenei and destroying military targets during what were supposed to be ongoing nuclear negotiations. Whatever you think about the strategic logic, you cannot separate the action from what came next. Iran responded with strikes against Israel, U.S. bases, and Gulf states. Then they closed the Strait of Hormuz, 1/5 of the world's oil supply gone overnight. A 2-week ceasefire was brokered on April 8th by Pakistan, not by us. Vice President Vance flew there with Witkoff and Kushner. They sat for 21 hours and came home with nothing. Then President Trump imposed a naval blockade on Iran. Now, April 25th. The ceasefire has been extended but is fragile. Iran is dictating terms through a 10-point plan, demanding reparations, sanctions relief, sovereignty over Hormuz, and an end to all regional conflicts. The U.S. is sending negotiators to a table where the other side won't sit in the same room. I brokered the Dayton Accords. I managed Kosovo. When you launch a military strike without building a coalition first, without a diplomatic endgame, you don't end up stronger. You end up alone.
No Facebook ads, no TikTok videos, no website, affiliate marketing without the usual roadblocks.
Let me walk through what we know as of today. First, Whch arrived in Pakistan on Friday, conveying Tehran's formal response to mediation proposals. Iran will not accept what they call maximalist demands. Their 10-point plan includes cessation of regional conflicts, full reparations, sanctions relief, and sovereignty over strait navigation. Second, Trump told world leaders the Hormuz blockade is temporary. But before the war, about 130 ships crossed that strait daily. Since the blockade started April 13th, Vortexa has recorded only 35 total transits, 5 ships in the last 24 hours. Not one supertanker. The strait is functionally closed. Third, Iran says no direct talks for the U.S. Everything goes through Pakistan as intermediary. Fourth, Iraq's officials have met with Pakistan's army chief on ceasefire developments. Turkey's foreign minister Fidan said Ankara would consider Hormuz demining, but only after a peace deal. Fifth, Germany's economic institutes warn the war threatens deindustrialization of Europe's largest industrial economy. Sixth, Macron told European leaders in Athens that the American, Russian, and Chinese presidents are all dead against European interests, and said this dynamic will outlast any single leader.
You're so very welcome.
Iran's internet blackout.
Hi, Moses.
57 consecutive days. Connectivity at 2% of normal. 80 million people cut off. That's a government terrified of its own citizens knowing the truth. Here's the honest truth about being president. When you sit in that chair, you don't just make a decision for today. You make it for the next 10, 20, 30 years. The decision to strike Iran's military infrastructure. I can see the strategic argument. Iran was advancing nuclear capabilities. But the governance failure is clear. You cannot launch the most significant military operation in the Middle East since Iraq without a plan to keep Hormuz open, without consulting allies, and without a diplomatic endgame. On March 6th, Trump posted, "There will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender." 3 days later, he falsely claimed the strait had reopened. On March 15th, he demanded NATO and China help reopen it. On April 7th, he threatened that a whole civilization will die tonight. Then, hours later, agreed to a ceasefire. When a commander-in-chief sends signals that contradictory in weeks, allies lose confidence, adversaries see opportunity, and mediators, Pakistan, fill the vacuum American leadership left behind. Iran is the one setting preconditions, choosing who to talk to, and controlling the strait that feeds the global economy. That's not American strength. That's the consequence of action without architecture. American power isn't just aircraft carriers. It's alliances, institutions, and the expectation that when America acts, it acts with legitimacy and a plan others can trust. All three are eroding. Pakistan, historically managed as a junior partner, is now chief mediator of a war we started. Its army chief has more diplomatic traffic on this crisis than our Secretary of State. Iran's foreign minister meets Pakistani leadership. Our envoys fly to the same city, and the other side won't acknowledge them. That is a structural inversion of the power relationship America has maintained for decades. Macron told European leaders that America, Russia, and China are all working against European interests. Germany's advisors warn this war threatens their industrial foundation. The UK convened over 40 countries to discuss the crisis without American leadership at the center.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Turkey and Iraq are engaging directly with Pakistan on ceasefire architecture. The world is building structures around us, not with us. When you launch a war without coalition support, impose a blockade without allied consensus, and send negotiators the other side refuses to meet, the world concludes American leadership cannot be relied upon. That institutional damage doesn't heal when the ceasefire holds. It persists and compounds. Iran is playing this brilliantly, refusing direct talks, forcing everything through Pakistan, insisting on maximalist terms, knowing they've set the negotiating floor higher than anyone imagined 2 months ago. And they control the strait. 5 ships in 24 hours versus 130 before the war. Turkey is positioning itself as a responsible regional power that acts after peace, not before. The kind of positioning that used to be America's signature move. Germany faces deindustrialization risk. Macron publicly declared America is no longer a reliable partner. Meanwhile, we're sending Kushner and Witkoff to Islamabad. Iran won't meet with them, and the White House cites some progress without specifying what that means. The most powerful military in history has created a situation where it has less leverage, not more. That is the strategic paradox at the heart of this crisis. There are 3 paths forward. The first and best is a negotiated framework through Pakistan. Iran agrees to indirect talks. A phased deal gets struck. Hormuz reopens gradually. Sanctions ease in stages. Nuclear constraints are reimposed with verification. But this deal will look nothing like unconditional surrender. Iran will emerge with more regional influence. That's the cost of a war without a diplomatic endgame. The second is stalemate, no deal. The blockade continues. Oil stays elevated. Germany contracts. Iran's blackout extends indefinitely. Europe accelerates its break from American leadership. The humanitarian toll compounds. The third is escalation. Talks collapse, strikes resume, Iran retaliates, Hezbollah escalates fully, the Strait becomes a combat zone, oil prices destabilize entire economies. I'm cautiously hopeful for the first outcome. Commercial flights resuming from Tehran, Turkey's demining offer, both sides still sending envoys. These suggest diplomatic space hasn't fully collapsed. But the absence of direct U.S.-Iran communication is the most dangerous variable. Every crisis I managed taught me you cannot solve a problem with someone you refuse to talk to. 57 days of internet blackout, 80 million people cut off. That's what it looks like when a government fears its own citizens more than its enemies. Every American should understand what's at stake when transparency dies. The health of a democracy is measured not by how it performs when things are easy, but by how its leaders behave under pressure. Do they build coalitions or go it alone? Communicate honestly or contradict themselves? Strengthen institutions or hollow them out? The real measure of a presidency has never been whether you can start a war. It's whether you can build a peace that lasts. Whether the world sees a country worth following because of our example, not just our military power. What's happening in Islamabad will shape the world for a generation. America must be at that table, not as a bully, not as a bystander, but as a leader worthy of the name. The world is watching, and what they see now will define what they expect from us for decades to come. Thank you for listening.
Okay, y'all.
Stay informed.
Stay informed.
Stay engaged.
Engaged.
And never forget, in a democracy, the most powerful thing you can do is pay attention.
Absolutely.
Honey, I have to bring work home this
With your
weekend.
good eye. We understand looking at things with our good eye. Huh? Okay, y'all, I gotta go to sleep. I gotta be up early in the morning. Keep my family in your prayers, please. Pictures of my grandfather. Let me show y'all a picture of my grandfather. Hey, my grandfather, wasn't he handsome? Wasn't my grandfather handsome? Huh? Huh? Look at my daddy. Look at my daddy, y'all. That's my daddy. That was my daddy. May he rest in peace. My granddaddy. May he rest in peace. You're my cousin. Come on, Chad. May he rest in peace. He looked like my dad to me, and he looked like my grandfather. May he rest in peace. That is Chad, y'all. That is his iron. We sent notes to him. We had prayer. Yeah. But today was a good day. Thanks to my cousin for sending me that prayer at 4:25 this morning. But that's my cousin Chad, and he will greatly be missed. Yeah, today was the day. Today was a day. I was able to meet cousins I have never met before, you know, and I thank God for that. I thank God for that. I thank God for that. That's my daddy. That's my daddy. My grandfather. May they all three rest in peace. I love you, Chad.